There's you're on the parts of the internet that currently exist. So
Oh,
something
the whole thing
happened,
exists. It's
and
just slow.
well, yeah, there are ways around. But a bunch of the subsea cables in and around the Red Sea
A
have
few. Yeah.
been snippified or something. Don't really know
Yes,
exactly what's happened.
some some cultural enrichment from the Houthis, I imagine.
That's a possibility.
Well, to be honest, right? Like
They
that
don't
is
know right
going to be the future of warfare, right? Like if they somehow found the got a hold of the undersea cable that links New York and London, like
now. Oh
that
yeah.
would cause billions of dollars in economic damage.
Oh, there's absolutely going to be that aspect of it.
That is
Now,
true.
keep in mind, these are genius people whose first decision was to try to fire at American boats, which is historically a very bad idea if you're a country or a people.
Oh, quick update
Yeah.
on that little thing. There's not much to it because nothing has really happened. But Don himself, he came out and mentioned that he wasn't real pleased about how they pulled out their Cold War era jets. What was it? He said that a narco terrorist organization got out their old jets and tried to scare us, and if you do that again, they'll be shot down. So I do appreciate the man for calling
It's
a
cute.
spade a spade. It's helpful to do. You know.
Oh yeah, speaking of narcos and terrorists, there are 11 fewer now.
Yeah, yeah. So they say,
So
or
what's wild is the left has decided to make this a cause to celeb, and the best
Yeah,
argument that I could see is that it's like they're like, well, they could have been human smugglers, and there might have
well,
been just migrants on there, and you're like, okay, so it's human smugglers
okay,
and people who are illegally on their way to the country, and they're like, well, we don't know that they're illegally on the way to the country because it happened in international waters. I'm like, there's going to be a
okay,
level of knowledge, like to find a freaking dark boat running in the middle of the ocean, and it's a fucking little mini speedboat. This is not the kind of ocean's big, people. They have to have
yeah,
known where it was going
quite
from
big.
and where it was going to, and the only reason that they would know that is if they had like intelligence sources on what that boat was. Like they're not just picking off fishing
We
vessels in the
got
middle
people.
of
We
the
have
ocean.
embedded sources down there. I mean, we know where these people are doing things and when they're doing them. At this point,
Right.
we just haven't given ourselves permission to go into another country and take care of it.
And like if it was a drug boat, I think the left kind of backed off of. Well, you never
Yeah,
know with it being a drug boat. Like I think they sat there and they backed off of that.
fucking
But
idiots.
but at the same time,
well,
it's
and a
like
quick note
like
actually on that
it's
specifically
probably
because we've got
both. It's
video.
probably a series of drugs and migrants. But like at the end of the day, it's I don't understand how they can think that somehow we just picked off a random boat with a missile in the middle of the ocean.
Well, you
And
know
there's the
how
thing.
many missiles we
There's
have in the
clear
ocean.
video of it, and they're saying these are fishermen or whatever. And okay,
Bullshit.
so have they? So they're on their fishing boat with four oversized outboard motors on the back of it,
Yeah,
and all of their fishing gear wrapped up in bales that is wrapped up in plastic. Yeah, that sounds like fishermen to me. They're totally fishing.
I mean, I think this level of interdiction is basically where we should have been decades ago.
Yeah,
Well,
as soon
Letting them
and
as
know
this
that
is
it's going to happen.
like
this started happening.
like this is the challenge that you have. You don't want to just fucking unmercifully, like I would love a world where criminality was something where we could really take our time with and be nice about it and all that. But these people aren't. They're fucking ruthless. They're coming in here nonstop. Like you have
These
to
are
do something.
militarized people. Like
And I'll
that's the
These are
other thing.
include
These are
militarized
mil.
people. Like
I'll
at
include
the
a
end of
link
the
to
day,
the
I,
video
I
what
gotta
is the
as
tell you,
alternative? You're
anyone that
gonna
wants
you're
to
gonna
get see
turn
it.
around and you're gonna run out to the fucking boat and try to board it and
well, here's
like
the thing. Not even like TDA. I was remember I think I told you about this a few times on the show. When I was down there in just Mexico to do a presentation in 2017, like we had to do an emergency thing just to like get the sign off on it because they were firing RPGs at each other in the street on the other side of Cancun. This is Cancun. TDA is
yeah.
based out of Venezuela. They don't have a flying fuck to give about people who are tourists down there, let alone Americans. Like this isn't like a foreign country that's gonna butter its bread based off of tourism from stupid Americans going down there and taking pictures of all the sites, they don't have to give a fuck. All they have to do is get drugs into this country because that's how they make their cash.
And it
Like
kind of
it's
seems like
insane.
they're somewhat
This is a decade
attached to the
later
Maduro
from
regime
that.
as well. So there's that.
It's insane that people have this notion that there's going to be any kind of nicety down there because of how nice they got their picket fence here. Like it just people are bad in some places, and these are those kind of people. And frankly, we should have declared them terrorists.
And you're not like you can't just turn around and carry your way out of crime. Like, and I think a perfect example is like, what are we so? They're like, how are you separating families? What the fuck do you think happens whenever we sit there? Like, if somebody sat there and murdered someone,
if you get a DUI,
quick. That's actually something funny that you mentioned. I admit I'd wanted to talk about that on the last episode because we have this current policy now of not separating families because it's kind of fucked up to do.
We send them all back.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like when you're sending someone away and you're not putting them into a jail, then just send their family together.
Well, so that I like that we give them the option. We give them the option. Either the mother can be a proper mother and say, hey, why don't I take my kids with me where I'm going to be living so I can be a mother for them? And the same thing with the fathers. They can either do that or they can put them into foster care here or put them with a relative here. And since the latter two would mean that the parent is a shit parent, several people, I'm assuming hopefully a majority of them, are taking up the offer to relocate their entire family. Now, my favorite part of that whole entire thing is that leftoids have been saying that we're deporting children. Well, that's not what's fucking happening.
Well, here's a really funny thing.
They're not being deported. Their parents are.
Out of, we'll use, there's all sorts of sources, but we'll use Reuters. One of our illustrious federal judges, just this last Sunday, halted all children being returned to their families. So a federal judge, a holdover, can you imagine, from the previous administration has ruled, or is it the Obama administration? Well, same thing, the previous administration. So what happens there is they're saying, we've got this policy of separating families, and we don't want to end that policy. Fuck you, Donald Trump. We're going to separate these families. And, the federal judge was like, yeah, we're going to do that. I mean, we may not be able to traffic these children, by golly, but we can at least keep them away from their family. So, they're just doing what they know. It's like...
recently there was a recovery of a little over 25,000 children from the 350,000 that are missing. There's a recovery of about 25,000 of them from a large number of homes that were simply not fit for purpose, is the nicest way to put it. They were being tortured and abused. These were children that were trafficked. Oh, yes. Now, you can extrapolate to 350,000 quite easily. That is a non-evidenced stretch, mind you. But given the way that things were handled with just these 25,000 they were able to find and rescue, that's pretty fucking gross. And an understatement of the day, but
yeah. Well, also in really,
it's again that's like saying I'm taking the virtuous, indefensible position that child porn bad, right? It's okay. I'm not going to stand up here and virtue signal on that, but holy crap.
Well, no, I mean in the term gross, as in it's gross by every meaning of that term.
Yeah.
From raw tonnage to just disgusting. So yeah. Which is terrible.
Is it an even multiple of 12? It's kind of weird.
Well, 12 is less than 13.
I'm sorry,
I'm
much
less than 18. So anyway. We are blessed, fellas. We are absolutely blessed to live in interesting times.
Oh, I'm feeling the blessings, all right.
They are many. They are many. Speaking of that, though, we have... something I never would have expected. The author of one of the articles that was kind of bad-mouthing the young Scottish girl that was protecting her friend. Well, mostly. It's very as you can imagine, a lefty author
Reluctant
put out
retraction?
an absolute wall of text that ends with "I'm sorry."
Okay, there's
ends with
that.
actually,
That's the part that mattered.
because there's a whole bunch of. You know what? I'll read. I'll read the beginning and the end because the middle they're just
Okay.
so fucking much. Taking accountability. This is Darren McGarvey at Loki Scottish Sharp. Scottish Rap? Whatever. Anyway, taking accountability. I want to apologize for how I framed the recent incident in Dundee involving a 12-year-old girl. In my piece, I presented events in a way that portrayed the child as the aggressor and the couple as the victims. While I tried to write sympathetically about what might lead a child to feel they need to carry weapons, the truth is I did not and do not. Double ellipse? Wait, is that two of them? It is. You motherfucker. Put this shit through chat. God damn. Anyway.
Did he? Is it a fucking EM dash?
Yeah. Fucking M dash. You motherfucker. Oh, God.
It's the medium M dash, isn't it?
Oh, fucking yes. Goodness fucking Christ.
Hey, look. It could have been just doing some editorial work, trying to make sure he got his grammar right, instead of wholesale synthesis. It could be that this apology is partly genuine, but the world will never know.
I'll read this first paragraph and I'll close it out, and I'll just make note of the M dash. Motherfucker, really? Fucking really? In today's day and age.
That's so
fucking
bare
really? God damn. Wow. Anyway. The truth is I did not M dash and do not know the full details. Fucking apostrophe.
Okay, that could be stylistic. That part could be stylistic. I'll give credit on that.
It could, but that's what fucking parentheses are for. Anyway.
Correct. And commas.
Yeah. Options. Anyway. Did not M dash and do not know the full details. My framing was therefore presumptuous. The police had explicitly warned against speculation. I failed to heed that. Wall of text.
Did he?
I should have been more cautious, and I'll treat this as a reminder to approach sensitive issues with greater care in the future. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely an editor telling him to do this now.
I mean, whether it is, it doesn't really matter whether it's a forced thing or it's an unforced thing. Either way, it's a positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that it happens at all is the right thing.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Like, and to be very clear here, right? It's not like this is one of the things that pisses me off with the media, is the media will tend to be like, hey, we're going to make a correction. It's a rather substantive correction. And they just make the correction, delete the paragraph, whatever it is, and then they put a little line that's like in really small font at the bottom of the page.
Oh, yeah, and do it as a shadow edit, too. Like, no announcement, no nothing, just, go back in there 3 days later and...
Yes, all it does is update the index number on the WordPress link.
Right, like, and especially we've seen some of the first time we saw this a lot. They would make these I don't know if I want to call it spurious claims, but they would certainly do like clickbaity stuff, and then they'd back the headline off or they'd back the whatever off, and then all of that was to.
I mean, it is credit where it's due on actually following through on an apology. I'm not upset with that. I am slightly miffed at the level of effort that was involved. The wall of text is a wall of text, but I mean, I have also similarly abused ChatGPT for my own gain in the past. So, guy's an asshole. Glad he's getting called out as an asshole, even if it's by his own boss just to cover their ass.
Yep. Hey, sometimes it falls on Jay Jonah to tell the guys to stop fucking around. And oh, speaking of fucking around, we should probably M dashes
finding out
soon. Not yet. It's too early for that.
Okay.
Out of the Governor Newsom press office at GovPress.
Fuck. There needs to be a find out, damn it. I demand to find out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, because they have recently posted an AI edited photo here of Donald Trump looking
yes.
pretty rough, be honest with you. Looking about, probably 50 pounds at least.
Remember, this is, of course, out of the office that hates deepfakes.
Well,
that's not only that, there's a law against it in California.
That's exactly what I was going to mention. SB 942 that takes effect next year, that Governor Newsom himself signed. That would
I wonder if it has any retroactive components to the statute, even though that would
Look, he's just got to get in his last couple kicks. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's...
that is the game of politics.
I would expect as much from him, to be sure. I would expect no less, even. And certainly no more, because, well, And, in kind of a related story to, girls and knives and, encounters, there's something that's not getting a lot of media play right now. You'd think, you'd think that with these people that they are, 10 toes deep, they are all in when it comes to Ukraine.
Are we talking Hassan now?
No. We're talking something a little bit more local. A little bit more local.
10 toes down on many things.
No. We're actually talking a little bit more local. There's, again, this relates to Ukraine. There's an innocent Ukrainian girl that had a horrible fate visited upon her.
She had an encounter.
She did. Just, getting off of work.
After surviving war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting away from... the horrors of war and living under a dictator and everything. She gets over here. She tries to build a life, and it gets stolen from her by some absolute psychotic.
This guy was a schizophrenic.
Fuck. Yeah.
He's this undiagnosed schizophrenic, of course, who had, or at the time, undiagnosed. I'm assuming that's been since corrected. Who had a rap sheet a mile long, of course, was let out over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck not? It was my understanding before that if you were acting like an animal, you got caged like one, but this seems to not apply to him. And then a young Ukrainian woman died, trying to start a new life here.
Yeah.
No, I believe it was because she was white.
Well, okay.
I don't know if that's the motive that was actually given.
No, I mean, it's a pretty safe assumption when you consider the assailant. And
well, again, he had a mile long rap sheet, and it wasn't a pretty story for his upbringing either, I assume.
Yeah, it's well, it ties back to one of the posts I made, in the last, like 2 weeks ago. It's still getting traction. Where I said, we used to help these people, and I genuinely mean that. I can be a snarky asshole when I say this shit, but
it's not just for the people who have mental illness. It is literally for the rest of us too. And I mean, it's not like there's
would you really put someone like that away? Do you know how many people I would be saving by doing that? And let's add the chance that we might be able to fix this person, maybe.
It's not even like we need to permanently fix them, like they're going to be better forever, but like give them a place that has stability that they can go back to, like as if it's a home, that they can come out into society and be productive members if they're in an asylum. Like there are people who go and have jobs that fit their capabilities, and they go home to the mental institute, and that's just what it is. And it sucks that that's their lot in life, but it is so much better than going to prison for doing something that they were not capable of controlling.
Or better still, that perhaps he would have been able to control it if not every aspect of his life and upbringing leading to that point hadn't trained him to understand that was all fine, that he can do whatever he wants because he has been coddled from the very day he first interacted with the systems of America. It says, no, you are fine. You may do as you please. Until he finally crosses the line that he didn't know was there because the system has told him from day one, there is no line. You're fine. You're not like other people. You can do whatever you want. You're just a lion in a field of gazelles. You're not going to do anything, and if you do, that's just what lions do. It's it is an insidious and tiresome system that has failed so many people, and we need to make asylums great again.
Really do.
Really, really do. The thing is, we genuinely could help someone like that. Let's say he has been brought up in this system that's trained him from the cradle that he is special. Someone at an asylum could say, hey, brother, you got a little bit of mental issues that we've got to first address. First and foremost, we've got to get you thinking straight. Then we've got to get your head straight. And there's somebody there that can do that. Are they going to fail sometimes?
The other thing is, it's not just going to be him.
No, it's
not just going to be him. There'll be other people like him who are going through the same shit. There's opportunities to peer bond, to relieve stresses, to start discussing whether or not these things are, these feelings that he has, he's going to be able to control them better. Yeah. Now he's going to be in prison,
right?
Which, frankly, now is where he belongs.
And speaking of being able to control your feelings, let's say you're, at a game, a sports game, with your friends or your family, for instance, and are we
going to talk about a certain Karen?
Did you catch the sports ball?
I did not personally, no, but from what I understand, neither did she.
It was on the ground. She was so mad about it.
Yeah. So
somebody said that she had some position. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. I'm not going to bother looking because, frankly, she's an irrelevant person.
Oh man, if she worked in HR, that would be the funniest shit ever.
Right?
Oh my god.
No, I can't. She had some I think it was some civil position.
Okay.
But yeah, it's basically a Karen position.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. And I mean, to be fair, Karen's kind of a slur, but I mean, we use slurs here because they're funny, so who fucking cares?
I mean, the dad did the right thing because it's his kid's birthday and he's trying to form good memories. It's better to just tell that woman to go fuck off, here, have your ball, than it is to, have her further involved in his life.
Yeah, true.
And then the kid got a whole bunch of good shit out of it anyway. The baseball team saw it happen and then made it right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
This woman's going to be basically, she's her legacy in media is going to be being a giant bitch, which she did to herself. And so I can't wait to hear the CNN sob story where she goes and gets an interview with, Problem Glasses, Marianne, whoever the fuck it's going to be. And says, I can't believe that the entire country is crucifying me over this one thing I did.
Well,
and then there's the band that came out with a statement, and I don't know if it's a parody or not, or if they're being serious about it. Does it involve $20
from what I understand, it is, and I will read that statement because I have it available, and we'll make it available to everybody so they can look it up themselves.
That's funny.
And this is from a band by the name of Post Traumatic. It was posted.
That's the part that it gets me.
So Karen strikes again. Outrage erupted after a woman heartlessly grabbed a home run ball from a young boy during a Philadelphia Phillies game on September 5th. What many don't know is that this isn't her first offense. A few weeks ago, now this is allegedly, but this is the post from Post Traumatic. I don't know why they would lie. They got no reason to.
Because it's funny as fuck.
It is, frankly. But it's way funnier if it's true. So I mean, why? But anyway, a few weeks ago, the same woman attended an all-ages show where our band, Post Traumatic, was playing. Our guitarist, Joe Privesh, saw a young boy in a wheelchair near the front of the stage and knelt down to give him a signed set list and a guitar pick. But this Karen, wearing one of our Post-Traumatic shirts, snatched the items from the boy's hand while shouting obscenities. Bassist Antonio Melandro tried to calm things down, but the woman stormed off, trashed our merch table, and left the venue, causing almost $20 in damage. We made things right with the fan.
That's the part where I think it's a joke.
Well, if all she did was knock over a merch table,
$20 in damages. Come on.
I mean, I literally bought one of those tables for $15 last week.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
I mean, she probably fucked up the legs on the table, realistically.
Okay. All right.
But,
Yeah.
again, alleged, but nonetheless, they don't.
Right.
By the way, great investment, man. That has allowed me to organize so much. Anyway, getting off topic. Back away, ADD spirits. Okay, causing almost $20 in damage. We made things right with a fan after the show, not thinking much of it since things can get rowdy at a post-traumatic show. But after seeing the news, we felt the need to speak up. This maniac needs to be stopped. Children deserve to feel safe at both sporting events and rock concerts. Hashtag Phillies, hashtag Marlins, hashtag Karen, hashtag MLB, hashtag baseball. Boy, if that's true, then
Right.
what an individual. What
That is a
what a character.
interesting characterization, but I will appreciate it nonetheless. An individual she is.
Truly, truly. And speaking of making asylums great again, for some reason, Herr Starmer of the great
London stand?
Caliphate of Britain has decided that they're going to make their asylum a little less great. Amazingly, I'm completely out of left field on this one.
I am floored,
Same,
flabbergasted, and vexed.
like, did we walk back through the mirror to the real world? What is going on here? But yeah, migrants in asylum seeker hotels in the UK to be moved into barracks on former military bases, according to Herr Starmer himself. I never in all my days. I have to be honest.
Yeah, we're going to put them in the bases now.
So I want to point to Asmongold. So Asmongold sat there and he basically turned around and said, you know, right now they're saying turn the boats around, right? Eventually they're going to turn around and start saying sink the boats. The bottom line is it's a problem. And this is one of the issues the Dems have is all of their toxic empathy leads to actual people getting hurt. And yes, you can hold you know, whatever you want in terms of personal opinions, right? That's absolutely allowed. Dog, shut up. However, when you can turn around and say that such and such poor sad sob story is poor sad sob story, but when there's somebody on the other side of that token, it is a very, very hard pass or a hard path that they're trying to get through. And they keep on trying to do it, and they keep on trying to play this like empathy to the criminal, and people just aren't like, we're willing to play empathy games as long as, you know, we're not getting hurt. Empathy's fun as long as nobody, you know, loses an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll segue that in a minute, but sometimes. Anyway, we'll oh, fuck it, right now. Okay, so
do it now. Go live.
We are fuck it. We're doing it live. So there's been a lot of crazy drone footage that's been coming out of Eastern Europe. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the drone footage coming out of the sand pit is just horrifying. So
it's right before the bomb goes off, or it does the crash, right?
Yeah. And in this one, we're talking about sympathy. So there's a man who's found himself very nearly in the clutches of Zelensky's goons. They're trying to chase him down and impress him into service. And you know, you feel for those people. It's like, God, you don't want them to just end up getting droned or something. Well, the funny thing is, the footage of him running is being taken by a drone, and not just any drone. A drone with a set of those front dangly wire majiggers that when they touch, things go ba-boo. And, you know, yeah. And so the drone operator, seeing this go down, is like, you know what? I got you, dog. I got you. And so you see the guy running, you see the thing coming in, and sees the recruiters at him, chasing after him at a full sprint, and just dives in and calls it a day. And I can imagine that old son was probably like, thanks, Poden.
I imagine the kid was probably fucking freaked out because that's still a drone flying in and exploding. I mean, I will not
Oh yeah, no,
ascribe
that's got to be a
mercy
completely
or
insane
sympathy to that.
situation by every just by every metric.
As convenient and tongue in cheek as it would be to describe that to being merciful, I think that was really let's kill the enemy. Which
Now that said,
wow, to catch that on film.
There is
That's
another video.
That's also like it was released as Russian propaganda, which is just everything coming out of Russia anyway.
Well, it's
it could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying it was.
Well, there's another
real and
there's another
selectively
similar
released.
one where you've got one of these kill drones coming through, and there's an old lady babushka, and it just kind of goes back up and over and around to a different target.
Yeah. I mean, you also have to remember that by and large, you do have humans piloting these devices.
Indeed, you do. Which, well, anyway.
And that's not always going to be the case, which is the other thing. That's rapidly not going to be the case.
Yeah, eventually we're going to have swarms.
It's very, very rapidly not going to be the case. And that is very, very rapidly going to be a huge problem. The old suggestions, the Geneva suggestions, is going to need an update.
Yeah, that is a list of a list of ideas. That is true. That is very true. There are some ideas on there that a person could consider, definitely.
Yeah.
You might want to go with them. You might not. Something else to consider.
It depends on whether or not the enemy's winning.
Segway still works. Enemy's winning. Yeah. Okay. Totally. Speaking of the new Meta glasses, yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Good times. Interesting ones, as a matter of fact. They can, within seconds, identify individuals by face, if their face is available anywhere online, and give you like their name, quick bio, Batman shit, basically. And it's pretty.
So you're saying is one of our core audience members is going to be out of a job soon?
Why would I be?
I said Batman.
Oh wait, I'm not the audience.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Shut up!
No, your dog has correct opinions on this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
He's about to get kicked in the fucking balls.
Yeah.
That's what's about to happen to him.
Why does he still have them? That might be part of the issue.
Once you watch this video, you might also...
It's largely better for animals. It's just like huskies don't really have a high amount of aggression. So keeping them intact versus not intact doesn't... Like, he'll have a better overall life and a higher quality of life if we keep him intact.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sure enough.
Like pit bulls should lose their balls real quick, but yeah, huskies, it's actually just better to keep them as is.
No, well,
like he's a pretty pathetic animal.
I mean, he doesn't sound too.
You can hear how happy he is right now.
Right now, I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
well, he's just always like
he's not getting his attention,
No, he wants to cuddle. He wants attention. I haven't really seen him be super aggressive ever. I don't think he likes dogs, but it could just be that he's pretty vocal.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a husky, right? So
yeah. So when he encounters other dogs, he's just vocal. Come in my swing range, and I'll hit you in the fucking face. You can cry at the edges of my arms.
That actually almost works as a segue. Almost. Close enough.
Okay. You've piqued my curiosity, sir.
Oh, you're going to like this. Okay, so The Spectator came out with a new issue. Actually, they'll be coming out with a new issue. It comes out here in like 7, 8, 9 days, something like that. Spectator World. And it's the feature is Trump's drug war. And it's got a little bit corporatized art, but, more stylistic and a little bit cooler, not as soulless as a lot of corporate art. But anyway, it's by Freddie Gray here, deputy and U.S. editor of The Spectator, saying here, we have just sent our first fortnightly edition of The Spectator for the U.S. market, and it's a gem. The cover piece by, let's see here, who's this by? Benjamin Dominic, editor at The Spectator, Big Ben Show, Fox News, at the Transom. Interesting. Is on the military conflict that MAGA wants. It could not be more timely. And, kind of cool art. Let me copy that over.
That MAGA wants.
Oh, but of course.
All right.
Of course.
I would agree that that's a true statement.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I think that's a true statement.
I think to deal with absolutely.
MAGA wants.
You gotta pause for a minute and remember that I'm a libertarian, and I have moved from cops are bad to fucking arrest all the criminals or shoot them. I don't fucking care. I just want them out of my life, right? Like,
word.
I'm sick and tired. A lot of people, and I'm not alone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The idea of being nice to people, of trying to help them through a tough situation. The bottom line is that we saw what happens when the police go away. Crime goes up, murders skyrocket. It's a real fucking problem. We found out what happens when the empathic people come in charge. They just claim they can't do anything about shutting down the border, right? And that's obviously not true. So I'm a big fan. I'm not MAGA. I'm MAGBA, right? I believe that government should be boring again. That's really what I want. I'm kind of sick of government by personalities, but at the same time, like what it really comes down to is I am okay with sitting there and having open debates about whether or not you can have drugs or not. I don't have an issue if somebody does drugs and it doesn't harm anybody else. But the bottom line is, as long as if there's excessive crime, I want my government to go after it. I don't want them to be spending money on shit like pride parades and all the other fucking shit that we've been spending on. Not because I think there's anything inherently wrong with that or that I wouldn't want to spend money on it. It's just there's a priority list. It's infinitely long and infinitely wide. We can spend, infinite dollars on any infinite things, and I want the people who are in charge to prioritize things that need to get done, and that's generally going to be police, fire, EMS, roads, government stuff. And instead, we've been sitting there and spending it on all these social causes. So what's ended up happening is all of the things the government's supposed to go take care of and deal with, they haven't. And so people like me, which I guess you could call me MAGA, people like me are kind of the opinion that, you know what, I'm sick and tired of it. Let's just fucking kill them. Like, kill the criminals.
Not alone in that.
Why? Because it's expensive to house them in jail. And you know what? Fuck them. If you decide that you want to ship drugs to the country, to death you go, right? Not you go to jail like the bit in Parks and Recreation, you go to death. And death by missile is a perfectly fine death. Like,
is the war. We're talking about the war against the cartels. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Well, no, I mean, it's all of it, right? Like,
sure.
We're sick.
Because I'm thinking jaywalking is not going to be the one that cuts the mustard here.
No, nobody. It's the violent crime. It's the opioid crisis. I want to see bad people go to jail, right? I was very clear
what's going to
about
happen from this? What's going to come out of this is all the media literate people, and I use that term very, very fucking loosely, are going to start coming after you saying, you just want Judge Dredd, and that movie is fascist.
Well, it gets even better than that, actually. Because, first, and I want to draw attention to this here. Because,
you got in swing range. You got hit.
Right? Exactly. Listen. But there's a fun little bit in the corner of the image there that's, got an article by somebody else that's going to be, of course, in this issue of The Spectator. And it's My Sister Ghislaine. That's a curious name. Let's see what the author's name is. Let me just tilt my head to the side so I can read. Ian Maxwell? Huh. That's interesting.
Okay.
What an interesting
Indeed, interesting.
thing.
So, what does Ian Maxwell have to say?
Well, we don't know because the whole thing hasn't dropped. All we've seen is a preview of the cover. But I didn't even notice that the first time I saw it. I was just like, oh, there's some yellow down at the corner of this really cool, badass poster.
That is a hell of an article to tease. Holy shit.
Right? I just wonder how many people that slipped
it's
by.
It's probable that it's going to be, I didn't know my sister growing up. I can barely understand what's going on with her now, but I have the same last name.
Yeah, right?
Or it could be,
I was estranged from our father at a very young age. I had no idea what my dad was into at all, I promise. But anyway, well, DHS.gov, Homeland Security, took that image. I'll just give a brief description for the people who won't be looking at the link directly and immediately. It's Trump in his traditional kind of navy blue outfit with the red tie and the white suit shirt, sitting in the back of a technical with a bunch of ICE dudes sitting along riding, and he's got his being a technical, he's the one manning the big ass gun, and that's the cover of the Spectator, and it's like, okay, well, that's actually kind of cool. Like, make a kind of and it's in
if they're going to go with the
proto corporate style, so it's actually kind of cool. Which, as is often the case, that's what they do. They make their enemies look kind of cool. So Homeland Security just did a couple of mild edits. That being that they took off the weird Maxwell bit and changed the Spectator World part and the September 15th and price to the price now says literally the most based thing ever. And where it said the Spectator World, it now says join.ice.gov. Those are the only edits.
I mean,
it's
I have to consider, what kind of pay cut or pay raise it would be to do so. But, who knows?
But
maybe we'll see the embedded sources in the podcast one day.
Good times. Funny stuff, though. Very funny stuff. It's like, you're trying to...
It's okay, money.
You have to include the intangibles, like the benefits package you get and so on.
True. On a somewhat related note, there's a comedian that, I'll be honest, pulled off, black comedian, pulled off some of the best white face I have seen in a long time.
That was actually quite impressive.
Yeah, just from a theatrical standpoint, amazing. Yeah, Drewski.
Yep.
But what's cool is what happened after that.
Indeed. And
a white man who looks basically just like his white face invited him to go to what was it? Basically a NASCAR event.
I've actually got this here. Let's see here. And the thing actually, I don't have that. So if you give me a link to that, I appreciate it. But what he
I have to find it
if you can.
Okay.
But he went to a NASCAR event, and he was. What would you say? I guess you could say he was being provocative, trying to get people to doing a Borat thing. Get people to sing along with all the racism and all the everything. And he didn't really find anybody. It was only just him being that way. So
yeah, how about that?
Yeah, funny that. But I do look forward to the new era of blackface. I'm thinking we could bring back Al Jolson, make him a real cultural icon again.
Oh my God!
Let's go for it. It's time.
That was.
Well, I mean,
that is a reference.
I think actually one of the biggest losses that we've had with all of the cancel culture and culture war shit is actually the racial commentary, right? Because I think it's kind of important. It's important for you when you talk to your friends or your family or whatever to sit there and be like, hey, this is how these people perceive me. That's an actual, that's an important aspect. And so when you start talking about blackface or whiteface or whatever have you, It's the same thing. It is absolutely the same concept where you're sitting there and saying it's a commentary on a racial group. Does that mean anything about the individuals? No, but it's how, like, the perception that white people have of black people is an important thing to communicate. And the same thing with black people to white people, right? Because when you find
Al Jolson was minstrel blackface. That's a slightly different thing.
it is a slightly different thing.
And that it's very racist and overtly so.
I don't have a problem with that.
I would say more so than white chicks.
I mean, but is that a cultural perception?
We're talking about this 100 years later, so it's possible there might be some of that shift in there, but I don't think we could go back 100 years.
I mean, how to lie with statistics? How to lie with statistics, bro?
I don't think we could go back 100 years and say they were less racist.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, like, we shouldn't judge them. We shouldn't judge the culture of the past by the current cultural standards.
Correct. We should not use contemporary metric on the past. It's always going to say that they're worse in some way or another, or better. I mean, it just depends on how you're gonna start slicing it up. That said, I would not say race relations were better in 1925.
No. But at the same time, like, I don't think that's why I don't think it's really relevant, right?
A lot worse
if we were to do
right now.
If people were to do the same kind of, like, blackface shit today, I don't think it would be. I think it would be representative of the cultural perspective of today, right? Like, it wouldn't resonate. I think that when you talk about what was done 100 years ago, I don't think that resonates culturally with what we have today.
It's only because he made the Al Jolson reference.
Yeah, I mean, I could have said Robert Downey Jr., but
which would have been
Robert Downey Jr. did a fantastic job with it. I had no idea. Like, nobody. I got through half the movie. I think my wife knew that he was blackface, and I did not, because I hadn't, like, looked into it when he did Tropic Thunder.
Really?
And when he fucking took the makeup off, I went, holy fucking shit!
It's him.
Okay, that's pretty fun.
Like, I know that they started with the whole thing where they showed him as an Australian, and they basically had, Robert Downey Jr. play himself as the Australian drug addict trying to recover, get back into film, and then the transformation. And I just assumed the black guy that was there in the film was just another actor that they had put into place. And so, like, that's what I thought was happening. When the makeup came off, I was like, holy fucking shit, man.
The eyes didn't sell it to you then?
No.
Damn.
No, not at all.
Alrighty.
Well, there you go.
Nothing.
We all have our blind spots.
I had no idea.
Robert Downey Jr. is yours.
Well, I'm not particularly good with racial stuff. Like, people have to explain that stuff still to me.
Yeah.
Whatever the thing is, better or for worse, it's not like
oh no, you're
a moral superior. I'm just like, I didn't learn enough of the racist tropes, and all of my worldview is based on statistics.
Well, that happens. Some people just don't get enough comedy in their early life.
So what you're saying is you need to spend more time on 4chan.
I tell you, I had a cultural awakening. I went to when I was working for Google, or subcontracting for Google. They put me into a Best Buy, and one of them was like a high-end mall, and that was the first year I did it, and it was a fun time. So I signed up for the second year. The second time they put me into like a Best Buy that was located in the middle of the fucking ghetto, and I got to learn many, many things.
You don't say.
That'll teach us.
What was that? Did you slowly begin to hate, as it were?
Jeez.
No. The black people were actually really funny. They were a lot. They taught me many cultural things.
I'm sure.
He had the buddy cop movie in Best Buy. Is that what you're telling us?
Did you get to interest or witness?
No. They got to tell me the different types of hookers.
Oh.
And I got to learn various black language stuff. like Faking the Funk, Snaggletooth.
Mm.
What was
I'm
it?
not
I learned
surprised you
all
don't
about
know either of those.
not chutzpah, not or machismo. What is it? What's it called?
Finna.
I am too curious.
Not Mojo.
Mojo?
No, it's the same kind of thing.
I was gonna say,
It's
like, did you hook up with a bunch of like '70s blacks?
probably.
That's possible. Were they shooting craps outside of the school?
No, they were just teaching me things.
Oh, okay.
I learned much. I got to bring all of my learning and education home. It was wonderful.
Well, there's something else that we've actually all got to have an interesting education just in the past few days. As we've found that there's a number of high profile X or Twitter accounts on what you could call MAGA influencers, if you like the term, that just very.
This is where you should use that image.
Let me see here.
Have an aversion to showering.
Yeah, okay. That's
yeah,
fair.
I can't bathe, I think was the mantra.
As said by Akshat, but yeah. So what's happened is a number of right-wing accounts seemingly strolling down from Chuck Calestro. Oh wow, they really do look similar. I'll definitely include that.
Crazy, isn't it?
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I'll definitely include that link with the Drewski link. So that's cool. Huh. Neat. Anywho. Oh, that's wild. Man. Huh. Need to not get distracted doing a show. So anyway, yeah. A bunch of supposedly right-wing influencers have found themselves in a bit of hot water lately because they're standing real heavily for Akshat and Pengier. And it looks like a lot of this stems from Chuck Calestro and maybe above him, because I don't really know who's like calling the shots, I guess you'd say, on that. But anyway, it's a little weird, and it's apparently not even all that much. I think what I heard was $200 per. I don't know if it was even per post, but like $200 if you'll just post a couple of pro-India comments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, are you really going to just sell yourself out for fucking pennies on the dollar like that?
I have a short list of accounts for you.
Oh, do you have
This goes back to a story from earlier.
Related as well, possibly to the cutoff in
it'd be very funny
Middle Eastern and related areas internet. But yeah, as of right now, we have Gunther Eagleman, Hunter Eagleman, Lib Tier Creator, Trump Update HQ, and Chuck Calestro. No posts in the last 12 hours. Either they're laying low or maybe their internet just isn't working. Who knows? Who can say?
Indeed.
And speaking of something that's not working, we should probably just stay on topic and talk about PERM and H-1B visa abuse programs, which are not working. Because they are legally required to list every job somewhere, even if that somewhere is just in print, just in the city where the job is posted, they have to list it. And because of great services like jobs.now or another that's in the field, H1BjobsDirect.com.
I didn't. I tried to stop him. He growled at me and then took off with a fucking plate.
Ah, that dog.
Oh, no.
Well, he ran to you very quickly.
And,
yeah, Huskies are smart, and they will absolutely play parents against each other.
I believe that.
I don't feel bad in any way, shape, or form. He's gonna have nasty shits. That's his problem. It's just tinfoil. Most of it'll fucking, I don't want to say dissolved, but it reacts with stomach acid.
Oh, well, he'll have a good time with that then. I have there's a funny video that just came out today too, from somebody at Walmart that has been having their lunch stolen, so they decided to just ghost pepper the next one up and leave it. And there's some lady in the background that's coughing and half gagging. So there you go. But anyway, the post out of Chief Nifty Swell, chief engineer. Permanent H-1B were supposed to outsmart us. Instead, the whole scheme is blowing up in their faces. Every job has to be advertised. Every posting is a chance for Americans to step in, apply, and stop the scam. Just like Coyote's traps, the visa lobby's tricks can't stop American talent. Roadrunner always gets away. Apply, screenshot, and file. That's how we end it. And then links to those. But on that note, too, we've found recently that there's just a lot of lies in the job market. And as a matter of fact, there aren't enough jobs for Americans. This actually came out just before the weekend. That unemployment exceeds available jobs. And that's not a good place to be.
Nope.
But the thing is,
actually, it's a very interesting place to be.
It is.
Because why do we need H-1B then?
Yep.
Well, yes, that's a fair. Yep.
And also, honestly, it's been this way for a while. It's just that now we can finally be honest because it makes the orange man look bad. But it's been this way for a while. I mean, was it last year that we reported that the jobs report resulted in some 1.5 million illegals and other immigrants getting jobs, and overall some 400,000 native-born Americans losing them, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, that's stuff like that's popped up periodically all over the place.
Mm-hmm. But related, and this is very interesting. This was, of course, just an announcement yesterday in the morning. Trump is considering a proposal to block U.S. IT companies from outsourcing their work to Indian companies. A move that could wreck Indian IT sector and cost millions of jobs. Wonderful. You mean to tell me that this IT degree that I've had for this fucking whole time might actually be able to get me work? Perish the fucking thought. And I hope that BRICS is very successful and that they have their whole thing going, and that India is a good friend of Russia.
They should have done stuff like this. Like, you are not allowed to hire. You can't offshore jobs. For American companies, you can't offshore jobs. Right? So call centers, nobody likes the fact that call centers have been predominantly Indian for a long period of time. Nobody likes calling up and hearing a poo in broken English, not understand what the fuck you're saying as you're trying to troubleshoot a problem. It means that our customer service takes twice as long, but they don't care because it's 60 cents an hour over there instead of paying $20 an hour here. Right? And it is a job that can be done anywhere. So, like, power to them if they actually sit there and ban IT and phone centers.
I would not be upset if I could actually make some fucking money. Really wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I know I'm not the only one feeling like that.
No, it's funny.
Now, that being said, the economic numbers under Trump are not currently very good. And that is
intentional, but that is also true.
So I brought up doing. So there was an entrepreneurial thing I was doing with a colleague before. We did an entrepreneurial how do you put it? Competition on campus.
Mm.
And he told me we're basically talking about including rheometric analysis into 3D printing software to greatly improve the ability of the device to get the print job done. Instead of just being kind of generic and like trying to fine tune parameters, actually bringing in constitutive models and putting in parameters based off of rheometry, which would have been very interesting. And kind of the immediate thing was to suggest that we hire like 14 of his that he knew people in India and that we could hire 14 people or whatever and have them coding for us. And I kind of had to back away at that point because I knew it would just basically be a lot of trying to debug someone else's shitware.
I've heard
which I didn't mention at the time.
Of Indian.
It's so
coders.
bad.
Well, I
It's-
mean,
it's
even
overforced
though,
country.
right, like it can be bad, but like the core bulk of the code still gets written. Right,
Yeah,
like-
but here's the thing: is when you spend I gotta tell you, having been involved in this before, when you spend all your time unfucking someone else's spaghetti, you may as well have started from scratch. Because and oftentimes you'll get features that you didn't want or shouldn't be there. You get gigantic security flaws in your code base. Actually, Keybase being bought by Zoom was to overcome Indian coders giving them gigantic security flaws that allowed them to be spied on by China, if you'll recall. These are gigantic flaws that you have to spend many man-hours correcting or outright replacing. And at a certain point, you have to get past the sunk cost fallacy and realize it was a really shit investment to begin with. And it's just what it is. You get what you pay for. You have inexperienced coders who are basically clocked by the hour, not by the task completed. Reverse that. Just let's play like this. They're clocked on completing a contract, not completing it competently. And you do get what you pay for. And it's tragic that you have this mentality behind a lot of product coming out of the area. But it is what it is. So we backed away from that idea, and we also, the both of us had better shit to do already because grad degree, getting this shit done. But at the same time, like that was the fact that was the first thing that came to mind was instead of leveraging expertise we had between the two of us or locally, it was we could hire out 14 to 20 guys back where I'm from and just go with that. It's like just really not what we needed, and that is endemic here as an attitude, as a mentality.
Yep.
And it's not just people living back home. It's also people from back home. It's the good example of the old boys club from another location that entered into our area. So I mean, if you really wanted to get better insight into this, it'd be interesting to have a study into HR and leadership positions for people who were here on perm after H-1B, and see how hiring has gone. And it's not like it's inherently bad, but that kind of nepotism does sort of it breeds in a what does it call? It breeds in a technical debt. So the technical debt is I mean, you're aware of what that is. It's where you have to spend time and energy on expertise that has disappeared from being retired or is not present due to incompetence. And it's not just in the employee, it's also in the product itself. So like I said, with the thing with hiring out people from back in India, I mean, it's not like they're all going to be bad, but that there's a gigantic technical debt that comes with those products. And they are still sold to Americans, as in sold to American businesses as a product that would be viable, and they incur massive technical debt. You have to see if you can recover anything out of that expense, and generally the answer is going to be no.
Well, honestly, kind of related to that is the trucking crisis in America and kind of elsewhere. you have these drivers, cough, that can't even read our
dude.
fucking signs, which is, I mean, that's pretty analogous to a loss of
It's brutal.
technical skill.
Like that's the thing is that's a very basic skill too. Out of all the technical skills there are, reading and writing the language of the country you live in should be top fucking priority if you're going to live there.
No less to actually drive an 18-wheeler that
Right.
a giant.
Well, let's look at the guy who just crashed. Right,
Yeah.
the guy who just killed the family. It failed the test how many times? Couldn't speak or write English. Like holy shit.
Yeah, required a translator at the scene, no less. Didn't even speak enough to interact with the officer on the scene.
Yep.
I mean, in America, Spanish is a pretty commonly spoken second language. But who are you going to grab immediately to help you out with one of the many languages
Punjab,
spoken in India? Well, that's the thing is there's not just Indian as a language. There's not just
two
Chinese.
Major languages in India, and then a shit.
And then there's
more.
There's 50 somewhat common ones, and then there's 100 more after that. Who are you like Spanish? You can basically pick any Spanish person, and even if it's they only know Castile Spanish, they can still understand someone who's from Latin America. It's gonna because Castile Spanish being a pretty commonly taught second language in the United States. Who the fuck are you gonna Again, you said there's two major ones. It's not the two major ones most people know.
Yeah, no, I said two major languages. There's no guarantee that the person's going to speak either of them. I didn't say two dominant languages.
Right. It's in China, Mandarin is pretty major, but it's also not dominant necessarily. In northern China and especially northwestern China, you're not going to have every person there claiming they're Han Chinese and speaking Mandarin. That's very much a Beijing area.
By way of Beijing, Mandarin it's become very language. Common.
It's become it's become the de facto state language, kind of like English in the United States.
Yeah,
although I think there it's the official language. They just hadn't been able to enforce it.
Well, there it's more of a force. Here it's more of a natural. But
Yeah, everyone. It's because it's also the language of currency in the world.
But related,
yeah, it's ridiculous because how do you get someone like this to start understanding that they fucked up, that they done goofed, if you can't even tell them how they fucked it up?
But interestingly enough, on the related directly to this, I've got a post here from what is this MAGA X Times Daily. And it's a video.
That sounds so reliable.
Well, maybe
I'm just being facetious, but
no, that's completely fair. That's completely fair because take that for whatever value it is. But look at the video that's been taken at a truck stop of some looks kind of Middle Eastern. Maybe is, maybe isn't. But he's
American merchant.
Maybe so. Maybe like the tan Germans. There's a
okay
for you.
Yes.
The
tan Germans and the Birmingham natives.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So anyway, this fella, he's taping up something to the side of his truck. That thing that he's taping to the side of his truck is a brand new set of credentials from a brand new company called Borderlanders. And
oh yes, okay.
And there's been a little bit of digging into that. I'm going to try and see if I can find that post specifically. But Borderlanders has a lot of ties, and ties back into even some USAID organizations and their people. Very interestingly. But that was just kind of sent along to Secretary Sean Duffy. My hope is that these things will be investigated. Here we go.
As indeed they should be.
Borderlanders started 2/19/2019.
And so this has nothing to do with the game then. This isn't a
No.
Borderlands thing.
No,
Sure.
not at all.
Okay, yes. All right.
No, and I think that company does.
Want to cover all the bases there.
Oh yeah. Now, this specific post doesn't have much of the information, unfortunately.
It's just like how fucking obvious can you be on this kind of shit? It's
wow,
goddamn.
that's a lot of violations. Unsurprisingly, let me see here. So they just got started and they're already racking up violations. Unsurprising.
Well, it is also possible. Just to be fair, it's possible that someone has started to engage in lawfare and reported this, that, and the other, and it could be that they just got slapped with 34 felony counts like a president.
Well, no, this is actually like stuff on false reports and actual violations. Okay. It's it's like I guess the best
just to play devil's advocate and get the full story out.
Yeah, no, I get you, but I mean, this is like when you look in your local paper and you see health inspection failures. It's like, well, no, they just failed.
Taco Bell, Denny's,
Sheets.
Taco Bell,
what have you. But yeah, just that. It's just I can't find the original post that's got all the links on that. But Borderlanders is very sus, as it were, and it's what is called a chameleon carrier. And I've got a little bit of just a quick article here from a site by the name of Highway Veritas that just kind of goes over what that is.
Do explain the chameleon carrier for the audience.
Well, I'll read it directly off of here because it's a nice little Substack.
Alrighty.
A chameleon carrier is a trucking company that shuts down, often due to safety issues, legal problems, or fraud, and then reincarnates under a new name to avoid consequences.
It's the same concept as a Chinese food place.
Oh yeah, totally.
Or like a Chinese Amazon store seller.
Or the Indian gas stations or the Indian-owned motels. Yeah, same kind of deal.
They're trying to call it
It went from John's to Joe's. We get it.
Yeah. That's just the way it is. Failure health inspection under new management.
Exactly.
And they list here some of the reasons that they are, quote, reborn is for FMCSA penalties, which I can't remember what's that short for, but for their premiums are getting too high because they've had too many accidents, investigations or lawsuits. They've got public safety scores that are horrible, and so when shippers look at it, they're like, "Oh God, they've got."
Yeah, that was the other thing I saw recently. Is shippers are starting the trucking insurance has started requiring U.S. citizenship because too many deliveries have been damaged, and they end up getting the liability out of that. So if you get your widget and it's been beaten to shit from the way it was driven to your location, the insurance company picks up the tab on that. The trucker isn't the one who gets screwed. I mean, their premiums might change, but ultimately the payment that gets to you as for the replacement, or the payment to the company to replace the item, that comes out of the trucker insurance or the shipment insurance. So they started requiring U.S. citizenship from the people doing the deliveries, which pissed a whole lot of people off in a way that I thought was very funny.
Yeah, peculiar.
So, I mean, I can see why those perms might also have a different industry they might pick up.
Oh, sure enough. But the story of this specific guy is he was sitting around, and the guy taking the video saw somebody drive up to his truck, hand him something, and then he tapes on the new credentials over the old ones, and then takes off.
See, that sounds like something
that is so fucking
someone should be looking for at way stations.
That is the chintziest fucking bullshit ever, man.
That is something that way stations should be looking for now.
I hope they are. But
way stations should also be looking for a fucking state-issued ID that says they're U.S. citizen on them, but that's a different one. Different situation there.
But related, because we are on the topic of this whole thing. we should talk about some of the things that have happened of late. Instacart has filed a copyright strike against Jobs Now because they posted one of
I
their
heard about
Visa
that.
ads. Yeah. They've got lawyers that are threatening citizens, American citizens, with claims that it's somehow illegal to apply to the jobs. LinkedIn.
That part is great.
Oh, it is.
Wait,
LinkedIn
say
is
that again?
lawyers.
If you apply for their job, you're potentially going to get sued by Instacart.
For what?
Well, whoever.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's utter bullshit. But they're so grasping at straws and so flabbergasted.
They're
by this that
angry.
They're kind of
Angry.
very upset.
Good, fuck them.
Very upset. LinkedIn is going just loony. All the attorneys on LinkedIn are like, please just hire H-1Bs. Walmart has backed off. Job boards are locking down their listings for visas. For visa job postings. Things are actually kind of happening.
Just to reiterate for clarity, when the things that are on jobs.now, and the things that they're trying to get, the ghost jobs are trying to put out there for H-1Bs to pick up. These are for people who are already here on H-1B, who have already enjoyed their privileged exposure to our job market, and are now trying to stay here. And admittedly, there are people who are here on H-1B who have proven their worth, and they should stay here because they are genuinely productive people who could be productive citizens that would genuinely enrich our country. Those people do exist. But to then try to privilege them by taking those job offerings and making them for those people only, that is a step too far. And it will always be a step too far. These are jobs that are here in this country. They should be for us first.
And directly on that note, there's 470.
I just think that's quite bold to sit there and say that Americans can't apply to a job. That's pretty bold. That's an interesting legal strategy.
We'll see how that works, Cotton.
Yeah, see how it plays. But in a very related note, there are 475 jobs that Americans should have had, but for some reason did not. That would be at the Georgia Hyundai plant. See,
so they who said that, and the funny thing is, so people have gotten a certain impression of different nationalities that are involved here.
Oh yeah, these guys that that would just do the jobs of picking crops that Americans wouldn't do. These 475 guys. Well,
what country are they from, and what were they doing?
Well, they were.
What was this Hyundai plant?
Well, it's only one of the top level battery production plants in America.
Battery production, you say? That sounds a lot like picking crops.
Something like it. And
so they bend over at the waist and they spend all their strength to rip the lithium out of the ground.
Well,
and then they place it in the battery part.
Well, the Africans do that part, but
okay. Well, that's the cadmium, not the lithium.
No, I think the Africans do that too, and then the Chinese ship it to us. But
lithium's more from like China. Cadmium and cobalt.
No. I mean the Chinese properties in Africa that is doing the mining, because that is kind of how a lot of that works at the moment.
Okay.
Anyway.
Right. Belt and Road Initiative. Got it.
Thanks, Xi. Well, anyway, this has got nothing to do with him. This is South Koreans. So, 475
exactly.
South
that was
Koreans.
My point. Not Indians.
Not Indians, not Mexicans.
Not Indians, not Hispanic.
Not Venezuelans.
Not Haitians.
No.
Like,
what would genuinely
not
be
Somalis.
Actual high-value individuals.
Now, I hear that there was this whole thing about model citizen theory where it was racist because only the best and brightest were coming here. Maybe we should review that at some point with the racist leftoids.
Yeah,
to
just
continue
to
go
be
on
completely
about
fair
that.
too. In this situation, from what I understand, the majority of them were just visa overstays. So,
Yes,
like,
and
they
that
came
is still a
legally,
problem.
and that is a huge issue. That's
Now,
where,
yeah, well, here's the scale of it. Pre-Biden, it was about 40% of illegal aliens are here on visa overstays, and a large majority of those tend to be Asian, and that includes India and Southeast Asia and so on, like all Asians. So about 40% of illegals visa overstays. Large, I would say, a sizable majority of that Asian. So it is what it is. You don't want to have to go home and have to reapply, to come back here and work at your uncle's restaurant. I get it. But,
we got
follow
a
the fucking
process.
rules.
Sorry.
Right,
Well,
it just
not
happens
sorry.
that, as far as like H-1B kind of stuff goes, about so each country has a limit on annual basis, and India's is like 25,000, which doesn't sound like much, but they get to stay here for like 6 years.
With potential to extend that almost indefinitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I can't remember if it's 25,000 per quarter or per year. I think it's per year, but I could easily be wrong on that. Now that also gets adjusted regularly, and each country's going to have their limit, and it's not based on population. Generally, it's based on needs and trends and whatever the State Department decides to pull out of its ass as justification.
Oh, sure.
So, I mean, people have been talking about reducing India's cap for a while, and every time it comes up, a bunch of people get very upset about it. And it's not just
But
Indian
this is
nationalists
the
who are upset
problem
at
that you
it.
have with the visa program in general, right? And this is
Right.
like I like the idea of migrants. I actually do. I don't have an issue with
Sure.
H-1B or all the other stuff as long as we were pursuing a pro-growth economy. They will add to
Right.
it. However, we have regulated ourselves into the ground, and we haven't pursued things like antitrust laws, which has allowed
Well,
for
right.
every single time you do this conglomeration stuff where you grab another, you buy up one company buys another company and they merge, a whole bunch of people become unnecessary.
Yeah, that makes
And
a lot of folks
so
redundant.
when the left sits there and comes out and says, "Oh my God, look at the CEO pay," what they're missing is that's almost all of that's due to the fact that one CEO is overseeing a way larger business than what you used to see, whereas the individuals participating in that individuals are serving essentially the same business interest, and that's all because of conglomeration. So if we don't turn around and we don't have anybody who decides to actually start using antitrust laws to go after the big conglomerates, and oh yeah, by the way, we're regulated into the ground that prevents the eventual and inevitable rise of small business competitors in favor of, because that's basically what regulations do. They keep the big guys in power because the
Yeah, the
regulatory
little guy's never
compliance
going to be able
cost
to
is
afford all
you
the
just can't afford it.
regulations and
Right. My
bullshit.
job my job fundamentally is regulatory compliance. If you are a small startup, you cannot afford someone like me to go handle your day to day, even if you knew what the fuck you were doing.
Yeah.
Like
And
that's the reality of it.
just a small aside, I mean, so many businesses in America are started off the books because you can't start a business on the books unless you've got a shitload of money.
You
to
got to
start
have
back.
basically $1 million from the bank and a loan, if you
Yeah.
can get it.
Yeah, so, I mean,
And
realistically, to start a
which is not
business,
impossible, but you got
just
to have some kind of collateral for them,
yeah,
because it's just otherwise not going to happen.
yeah, it's for a free economy. We've
You know,
got
like
a lot
I'll
of
put my
lot of
home up as
hurdles.
collateral to make this business happen, and they'll say okay.
But yeah, it is what it is. Now that said, we have America is doing something really solid. We've got this guy. He's future engineer. Probably, I can only imagine all the good that he is
Oh
going to be
boy.
able to provide. Not to us, because out of our kindness, we're going to send him off to do a mission of goodwill. And the lucky folks of Eswatini in Africa will soon be receiving the
Utini?
Eswatini.
Utini?
Eswatini.
Eswatini.
Yeah, in Africa.
Utini.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be receiving
Big
the noted and well received. Some would call him a philosopher king, perhaps.
Okay.
Mr. Abrego Garcia, Kilmar, as some have called
him. Okay.
will be heading.
We will never be able to do without him.
My heart breaks. My heart breaks that the Maryland man will have to become the Eswatini man. But because he has so much to offer the world, I am sure that he is going to enrich the lives of every single Eswatinian. Without a doubt. Certainly. You know?
I you know what? I honestly think that we should pay people to go to there. Like if you gave the average immigrant $1,000, right, to just leave and go to Africa, like that would they could go to places like Uganda and be fine.
Yeah, probably.
That's the thing is it's not working in Europe, which is closer. Although I could see the argument here, that they have to take a plane ride before they find out just how fucked up that decision was. But if it's not working over there,
well, we could maybe give them some letters of
marque
or something, and say, hey,
right.
Here's some money
because they're offered $3,000 over there. To leave the
part of the problem you have with the UK is the UK also sits there and pays people to stay. Like they're offering them $3,000 to leave, but then if they stay, they get $60,000 worth of benefits.
Exactly.
They get to stay in hotels. Although that apparently is going to be changing very shortly, according to Herr Starmer.
That's the thing. If you turn around and you cut those benefit programs over in the UK,
a change. You have a sea change.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of the problem that you have with I think migration is probably good for the US if we had the associated growth to absorb it, right? It would be a net positive, right? But on top of that,
turns out
as soon as you have social programs that pay people to stay poor, well, now all of a sudden, inevitably some amount of those funds are going to go to these people who are just going to come here and claim those funds.
Yeah. Well, it's like if they tried to...
it's like leftist policies don't count on human nature.
Right.
Again.
And
a lot of rightist policies similarly don't count on human nature time and again, but
some also don't really they do, but they completely don't take it into account. So let's take, for instance, Poland, where they've instituted a number of pro-natalist moves that have kind of backfired because it's okay, well, if you're a woman and you have a kid, then you get a tax break. If you have 2 kids, you get an even bigger tax break. If you have
that sounds kind of like America.
You pay no taxes, and it's okay, well, what that's actually funny enough is resulted in a number of women getting back into the workforce because it's oh, well, I can just make all this money and not get taxed on it at all. And now that was...
Oops.
Damn it. So, yeah, just knock-on effects. Although related to that, very similarly related, is we got an interesting article out of The Atlantic just a few days ago titled The Marriage Effect. And I'll just read the headline.
Oh, isn't that such an interesting article?
It is a very interesting one. A common narrative has been that commitment and motherhood make women unhappy. New data suggests the opposite is true. Huh. How about
that? Where would that narrative have been common?
So I'll actually speak to this a little bit, right? Because obviously I'm having a kid soon. So my wife and I, part of this whole discussion, especially when, any one of the many, many failures we had, she would turn around and say that it's not good for women to have kids, and she would cite this data. But what's really funny about the data is that the studies that sat there and looked into it didn't actually evaluate things. They didn't evaluate any like real characteristics. It was essentially self-reporting on kind of like vibing, right? So they would
The
not
FBI has
they wouldn't
investigated the
do
FBI and found the
wouldn't do it
FBI
on
did nothing
like
wrong kind of
greater
deal.
life satisfaction stuff. They wouldn't do it on overall mental health. They didn't pick any of these metrics that are actually really well
Yes,
defined.
they
It
did
was
feminist
generally like,
science.
how do you
That's how it
feel,
works.
right? Like, do you feel happy all the time? And of course, you know,
Are
if
you
you're
manic?
feel right, are you manic? Yeah, and the answer is no. But that's not the same thing as like overall life satisfaction, right? I there's a lot of people who'd be like, you're kind of a miserable person. I'm actually quite satisfied with my life because I have a lot of shit going on, and it's crazy and it's complex, and I'm like burned out at the end of every single day. But I have a lot of high life satisfaction. If I turned around and said, hey, am I happy? Right? Very rarely. But do I enjoy my life? Would I live it another way? I have obviously the money. I could do whatever I wanted, right? And that wouldn't be a problem for me. But like, do I need to? And the answer is no. I choose the life that I'm in, despite the fact that I have the resources to do something completely different. And the reason that I do that is because this is being unhappy because things aren't necessarily going perfectly. I just sat there and put up a fucking drywall sheet today. Do I enjoy putting up drywall sheets? No, not at all. Do I enjoy the fact that the drywall sheet is up? Yes. Would I enjoy it more if I paid somebody else to do it? No. I take satisfaction in my work. And that's
Well,
the
so
problem with
a word
those
I
studies.
used, a word I used for this when I was doing my internship with Dow, and there was a one particular evening that was pleasant. I just got to sit down and enjoy. Actually, it was near the time when they announced the discovery of the Higgs boson. So around then, contentment. It was
Yeah.
I sat down and I did a little bit. I did some the rare introspective reflection. I was like, oh, this is pretty nice. Like I was content with where I was at the moment.
Yep.
It wasn't like I was elated. I wasn't like thrilled. I was just like, oh, this is all right.
Yep. Look, I tell you, I had one of those moments.
I
I
was
was sitting
glad I
there,
was doing that.
like, everybody heard me fucking yelling at the dog because he tried to fucking steal my lasagna.
Sure.
So I got this lasagna, right? Like I got it. So tonight today was putting up a sheet of drywall. I spent earlier in the week. I rewired the whole ceiling in the living room. It's been like we ripped all the stuff down a long, long time ago, and it's just been kind of sitting here as a project. And I
Right.
like last weekend I was mucking out my basement. Now my basement is dry, and it turns out what I thought was my water heater leaking. Maybe it's leaking. It's rusted out as all hell, but there doesn't seem to be as much of a plume. So it's a really slow leak if it's a leak, or it could have just been like dirt that I
Yeah.
washed away. Um, you know, I sat there after a day of cleaning, moving all my shit from one room into another, putting up a sheet of drywall, having gypsum rain down upon myself and my beard, getting
Right.
in my eyes, despite all of the eye protection I wore. Um, Going out to Home Depot and finding out that none of the shit is. And I sat down and I got myself fucking lasagna at the local pizza place. And we're sitting at the table. And it was just one of those moments where you're like, man, the shittiest part about life is that it's going to end for me someday. And that is a high level of satisfaction, right? I am tired. I'm exhausted. I have to put up with YouTube buffoons later on this evening. I'm sucking at Battlefield. All of this shit is going wrong. But you know what? If I could preserve that moment with my dog sitting there and crying for the lasagna on the table, and my wife who is pregnant and carrying my child is just sitting there and trying to like, get through the day without puking, and I'm sitting there and like there is nothing more satisfying than those moments. And that's the thing about marriage, and that's I think the thing about kids is like if you think about babies, there is nothing about babies that is appealing. I think women are
Very few things.
programmed, like evolutionarily speaking, I think they're programmed to believe in babies being awesome, but like I do not want to clean up another human being's shit. I don't.
Well, here's the
But
thing:
you know what?
is that apparently happens to a dad basically when he's born. That's the moment where the dad grabs the baby by the leg and throws it up in the air, like sword to heavens and says, "I'm a father."
And maybe that's what
Which I've
happens.
seen,
But
which
like,
I've seen happen in both my brothers. Yeah, so there is that part of it, but
I
that
can
is
tell
comes
you that
later
I
stages.
was really anti-child for a really long time. Now, part of that's being raised in blue states. But right now, as I think through it, like I can't wait until that child can talk. I can't wait to
Right?
show it the exciting and really cool world that exists that I've built around myself
More
and I built with
importantly,
my
what you will
wife.
be there for.
And you
The
know what?
excitement of the
The
future.
biggest regret that I have, honestly, the biggest regret that I have, I'm 40 fucking years old.
Right.
The biggest mistake I've made is not having kids earlier, and it
No,
would have sucked,
I'm actually right there with
right?
you on that.
Like I can turn around right now. I can go out. Well, we're probably going to choose Orbit Baby. I think that's what I'm leaning towards because it's got all of the bespoke features, right? It can rotate and sit in a car seat, and I can transfer it between that and the jogging stroller. And it's going to cost me like $2,000 for the fucking thing. And you know what else I'm probably going to sit there and spend money on? I'm probably going to spend money on the ultimate baby bassinet thing that electronically
Oh, don't
calms the child to sleep.
worry. You're going to have to spend at least 5 times all of that on diapers.
The real
No,
question,
diapers
though,
aren't that expensive. They
the,
aren't that
Yeah,
expensive.
they're
It's
not
like $20
expensive.
a
They're
week.
not expensive. They're not expensive, but you go through them. And I mean, it's
Yeah,
not like
but
you're going to worry about the cost later.
I sat there and I looked it up. I
It's
calculated
just
out. It's like
hilarious.
$20 a week. Is it like nothing? No. By the time you're done with 6 months, when
That
you can
is
start
that is
potty
when
training,
they eat. That's when they eat and shit on your schedule, which is not going to happen.
well, the important question, though, really, if
no,
I lay on a
that's the
piano,
average. That's the average. But either way, like I sit there and I
Okay.
look back and I'm like, one, I should have had kids younger. I should have started having kids in my 20s. And I
Exactly.
would have had more kids. I think like the thing is that you get once you have more kids, I think it ironically gets easier because they entertain themselves. This idea of spending all that time on one child, that's exhausting. Just thinking about it is exhausting. Right? I'm going to have to be this child's sole source of entertainment. If you had like 5 kids, then they can all entertain each other. And one of them's
Yeah.
being a pain in the ass, the others can fucking corral him. Hold on, I'm trying to kill this guy.
It's very true. And like in that same vein, this goes back to the whole drywall thing though. There's going to be the end of the day when you say,
Yep.
Was this all worth it? Am I satisfied?
And yeah, and that's the thing is like if I was turning around, I was dealing with like I am sure that in my 20s I would have been fucking annoyed with kids. I'm sure I would have been. I was, but I was immature, and part of the reason I was immature is because the state I came from a blue state. It raised me to be immature. If I had a positive expectancy of children, then I would probably be less immature about it, right? But on top of that, like now I sit there and I look at it. I'm like, I'm so looking forward to the kid coming out. I'm really looking forward. I'm not looking forward to the baby phase. That's gonna fucking suck. Like women need to learn how to gestate longer. Seriously, like you guys fucking puss out and push that sucker out at 10 months. Let it get to like 18 months and let us communicate via speakerphone to the belly so that it can learn language when it comes out. And that works out fucking great. Like we can teach it the importance of potty training while it's suspended in a fucking amniotic sac. I'm okay with that. But
maybe.
teaching it to fucking camp and hike and catch frogs and all the shit that I like to do, teaching it all of the like house chores that's gonna be awesome. And my biggest regret is that because I've chosen to start having kids at 40, well, it's at 30, but we had problems. But choosing a decade late, plus all of the complications that we have, that's 20 years less of that kid that I get to see because I'm gonna fucking die. Right? Like, and
Well, with that attitude, yeah.
if I turned around and I'd started having kids 20 years ago, then I would not only get to see those kids, but I'd get 20 extra years with their kids and I could see like a whole family. And it would be mine. And I would have created it. And yeah, there's going to be hard parts, but like, I don't think the cost is that much.
That used
And
to be
really kind of sad.
used to be very much the way it was. Quite honestly, you'd have your kids at 18, 20, and then they'd have
Part of
their
that
kids
was
at
also
18,
by
20.
necessity. To be fair, especially in the
Yeah,
more
part of
rural areas.
yeah, but I
We
mean,
needed slave
regardless,
labor.
necessity or not, right? I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the better.
It got
I think
humans
that's
to
the
where we
better
are now.
approach.
So, it seems like a pretty successful way to run a society.
Now,
And
I mean, part of the issue with today is you are very much incentivized against having kids in dumb
sure.
ways too.
Well, I think there's two problems, right? One is boomers. Boomers fucked us. They fucked all of us. Boomers are the most selfish and self-centered generation, and they basically, like, on top of spending money they didn't have, that they're just going to hand the bill to the future generation, right, with our debt, instead of managing things responsibly. They also were like the first generation that pushed for this idea of vibing your way through life, right?
Yeah.
Like, that might be a millennial term, but it fundamentally started with the boomers. The boomers, if you turn around and you look at marriage rates, like, I'm not saying cheating on your wife's okay or good or anything like that, but people fucking held that shit together. The boomers, they're like, fuck, I'm slightly unhappy today. We're going to go get a divorce.
well, the thing is
And
about
and
the
that's
boomers
like,
is that they
If
kind
that's
of
a what the fuck thing.
they came up in a system that allowed them to be able to do that,
right,
and
right. And
and
so,
in doing so, completely destroyed the system.
You know,
well,
that's one of the things where you have to say, like, no fault was probably not the worst idea, but a lot of the people who decided to go down that road were probably the worst people to allow to marry in the first place.
well, and that's the inherent problem that you run into is it's like, yeah, I get it. I understand that there are times where you just want to go your separate ways. But at the same time, what's the fucking point? Right? Like, I know
Well, some people need
my
to just explore themselves and express themselves
right.
in different
Well,
ways. It's
my
like,
my wife's uncles had like 4 or 5 marriages at this point.
oh, what the
And
fuck
you're
is he doing?
well, and like, only
That's kind of my
one of
question.
the wives widowed, but like, that's the point, right? Like, what the fuck, you know? Here I am. I've been with my wife for 20 years. We're gonna have our kid, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Strange sounds fun, but I'm not gonna go, like, that's not worth of my relationship or anything else for it. So,
Sure.
like, why would I go after that? And you see people that'll sit there and advertise that, but I don't want to go through the pain that I'd inflict on other people. I don't want to deal with. I don't even want to deal with another woman's shit, for God's sakes.
You've taken
Like,
this
That's true. I
long
mean,
to
you only have so much of your
get one
bathroom you can
working.
give up to everything else.
that's exactly right. So, like you sit there and, yeah, I'm sure somebody can sell me on some positives there, but all the negatives really fucking suck. And so, like the boomers really fucked us. They fucked our entire perspective on love. They fucked our perspective on life. They fucked our perspective on values. Here's the sad things, folks. Your career is complete at 10 years. That doesn't mean it's over. It's just complete. You've ascended pretty much as far as you're going to go without, like everything really slows down after about 10 years if you're remotely competent, right? Like, you move, eventually they run out of rungs on the ladder for you to climb without you changing careers entirely. This idea of the career-minded individual is just ridiculous.
Well, and it also used to be that in 10 years, you'd get to a good place where you're going to just be able to make it in any given career.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's a separate problem.
yeah, and that's
Like, that's
yet again another
that
thing was
goes
pissed
back
away.
to the pro-growth issue. That's the pro-growth problem.
Indeed. But tying back into something that we already discussed earlier, because there's a little addendum that's worth mentioning, is
Okay.
that whole Venezuelan boat with whatever it
The
was carrying.
Nicaragua people on them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Vance, he tweeted out something. Said,
Yes, he
killing
did.
cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military. And, of course, fan of the show, Ed Krasenstein. Oh, sorry, no, my bad. Not Ed. His brother Brian. Brian Krasenstein replied.
Yes, one of the two cramps.
Yeah. He replied saying, killing the citizens of another nation who are civilians without any due process is called a war crime. To which J.D. Vance replied, I don't give a shit what you call it. And, well, that's, say what you will, but that is exactly.
Brian has a very high opinion of his opinions.
He does.
Which everyone knows is just not worth anything.
I'll offer one thing about the left that's pretty amazing. And I ran into this, and Craig actually saw my post, because he retweeted it. But there was somebody on the left who posted something about Israel's war crimes. And what it was the IAEA, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency. Right, the IAEA sat there and surveyed some sites that were targets of Israel in Syria. And what they found was, hey, there's some fucking depleted uranium here, right? That's what they find in their survey.
shells.
Right. So somebody sat there and they kind of sort of alluded to it was Israel using nuclear weapons. And they explicitly stated maybe they didn't use a nuclear weapon, but they've essentially poisoned the land and all this other stuff. Except for the fact that it's very clear that Israel used a chemical bomb, right? Just in a standard explosion. Conventional ordnance. And they hit a munitions depot that has depleted uranium, because depleted uranium is only used for kinetic impacts, and you're not going to blow up a munitions depot with a kinetic impact, especially not if you're calling it a bomb, right? So it's stuff like what the Krasensteins do is they basically come in and they kind of lie, but they don't really lie. They don't actually sit there. They don't.
They just don't know what they're talking about.
I don't even want to say that. Like, they specifically weave a narrative that is not explicitly false, but it's also like the conclusions that they draw are fundamentally false, but the technical realities of like all of the stuff they're presenting is not.
That's fair.
And it's very fucking weird. Like, it's really fucking weird. And so when you turn around and you have the Krasenstein saying, hey, this is a war crime, you can, he's technically correct if the military just attacks civilians of a foreign nation. It is a war crime. But you know it's not a fucking war crime? Like going after criminals in international waters. Like, you can absolutely just kill criminals. That's something that you can do. And so like, you turn around and say, hey, yeah, is it civilians of Venezuela? Yeah, Trinidad de Aragua is a series of civilians of Venezuela. But ultimately, they're a criminal organization, and that doesn't, like, their lives are essentially forfeit at that point. Right? Like, yeah, you could make the argument that the fucking boat didn't necessarily pose a threat to the missile. But what would the threat have been had a destroyer showed up and tried to sit there and, like, confiscate the cargo? And what are you going to do with that? You're going to fucking burn it. Like, they're going to shoot at them, and then they're going to get hit with returning fire, and everybody would be dead on the boat anyway. So you just take it out with a missile, and you don't risk any American lives.
Well, there you go. Right. I mean, that's the cost-benefit analysis right there. Well, anywho, awkward silences aside.
No, that's not awkward. That's just like,
that's the conclusion of the statement.
Oh, yeah, no, but that said, I do have something else I'd like to mention. We kind of touched on it earlier, but there is more to the story out of Scotland, out of Dundee, I think it was. Anyway.
Yep.
The, Fatos Ali Dumana has been charged by Police Scotland with assaulting a minor. Fucking finally. Long time.
You know what's really funny about that one? What was it they said at the very beginning of that? It's not a migrant, as they call them over there.
No,
it's not a migrant. It's not a migrant. It totally fucking was.
Yeah, Bulgarian.
What the cop
said?
Of fact. The cop said that the girls started it, and
yeah. Like, are you fucking?
None of it was fucking true. None of it.
Not at all.
Fucking lied.
Yep. So, yeah, there we are. There we are. So, hey,
Well,
we're seeing
and
movement
and
on
what was it?
things
I
that
think
normally
somebody turned
wouldn't have
around and
happened.
said something like, with the cops in Scotland and cops in the UK, like what they've done consistently is not tell the truth about migrant crime.
Yeah, that's the one
Pretty
thing you
much.
can count on.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the only thing you can trust is that they're going to lie to you. it's
Yep.
really quite something. Oh, and related, I guess, but everybody's reported on it. Although my take will probably be a little bit more acerbic than others. Graham Linehan has been detained. Actually, no, not
Yes,
detained. He
yes.
was straight up arrested by like 5
Yep.
armed, like gun cops of all the fucking things.
5 armed cops. Yep.
And so, yeah, apparently he is an Irish citizen, a member of the EU, not British, and made some tweets while he was in America. So
Yeah,
let
Mike.
me
Now
just,
here's the question: why did he go to the UK?
yeah,
It's
why
a
would
really
you ever
funny
do that?
answer.
I think he got rerouted or something.
Because he was in trouble in the UK, legal trouble. He had to go there to be in court.
Mm.
So he was required to return to the UK for court, and because of shit he said in another country, he was arrested.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Because of shit he said in another country where it was legal to say it.
Yep.
Where, and that is, again, to reiterate, a non-British citizen, or subject, I suppose, said something in a country where it was legal to say it. And then...
What would be really fun, right? Like for me, because one of the key partnerships that we have right now is AUKUS, and that's Australia, UK, and the US. We're helping them build submarines. I would love to be part of that program, go over there and have them fucking arrest me. That would be literally an international incident.
That would be fucking hilarious, yeah.
It would. Well,
like they would literally be arresting U.S. citizens for what U.S. citizens did on their private time while they were actual allies providing military strategic assets to the U.K. That would be,
as I say, fuck the
fun.
king. As I say, fuck the king.
Yep.
Yeah, he's certainly got some baggage of his own. That's absolutely
Doesn't need to be anything complicated. No need to even go into any nuanced detail.
Well,
as an American, it's my God-given right.
True.
To absolutely say, fuck the king.
True. Now,
in fact, we started a damn nation over that.
Now, if you did want to go into some nuance, you could talk about, his brother, that guy with the white hair that worked at BBC Radio and took intimate care of so many mentally challenged young girls and boys. Cough. Oh, right. That was never confirmed. Just everyone knows that he's the bastard half-brother because everyone fucking knows, but, you can't really talk about that. And what I just said, I am 100% fucking sure that would absolutely get me locked up if I go to visit Britain. No doubt about it. But, exactly. I'm not planning on going to visit anytime in the near future. For one, can't afford to. And for two, I don't really like visiting third world shitholes. Sorry. Yeah, is what it is.
Yeah, Londonistan is Londonistan.
It is. It is that exactly. So, shifting gears just a bit.
Well, for now.
Yeah, you hope, right?
I honestly, I do not believe that the approach of the left will be sustained at this point.
Well, it's quite literally unsustainable because they're not hitting birth rate numbers where Christian and conservative families are hitting replacement numbers.
You guys need to remember that you're talking about a group that does not reproduce necessarily, but does recruit.
They do, but
yeah, but I don't
they're
think.
not real popular
Honestly,
these days.
I don't think that matters. anymore. Like there's a lot of time where the left had a lot of pull. I don't think they have that kind of pull anymore. I think that there is what we see consistently is there's a lot of people across the board who just are like, yeah, if I have to say this in order to get past the teacher, I'll say this, and then I'll think what I'm going to think. And I mean, to be fair, this is not good for the overall dating scenario. But you're looking at a significant number of men who are basically choosing to no longer participate. Right? Like I don't even want to say it's incels or whatever it is. It's closer to MGTOW than anything else. And and the bottom line is that men are kind of sick and tired of women's shit. And so and I don't want to say women's shit. I really struggle with that because, like, you know,
it's this leftist feminazi bullshit that kind of pervaded and slowly receding.
In any case, the men have consistently they've hidden their actual personal political views, and that's no longer happening.
Oh yeah. Well, I see. Here's the funny thing, and this is just because it is what it is, and I'm a pedant like that. But it's always struck me as hilarious that, the whole MGTOW thing, men going their own way, needed an acronym for it. Whereas you think that kind of independence, you just kind of do it. And then moreover, they're the ones who decide they need to control other people and how they're going to be MGTOW, and it becomes this whole purity.
Well, and that's always a problem. That's always
it's
a problem.
Fucking funny as hell to me, though.
One of the downsides is that women have overplayed their hand, and fundamentally.
Yeah. Oh damn! Did you lose you?
God damn!
Oh,
that guy really knows what he's fucking doing. But yeah, they really overplay their hand, and so men aren't playing that game anymore. They're not pretending to be liberal, and so I don't think the
ads though are fucking funny. Trying to find liberal man who can bench press, a certain amount or lift his own weight.
Yeah, well, again, I what's going to inevitably
liberal man
happen,
who
right?
enjoys hunting.
What is it? Andrew Wilson, I think, for the Whatever podcast.
Oh yeah, he's routinely on there.
I saw him. I saw him sit there and say basically something along the lines of, and I agree with this, and I think I talked about this a week or two ago. Oh god damn it, hiccups. Where women's rights are fundamentally at the purview of men. And I think that's one of the hard things that women are going to learn is that their political philosophy is like not going to get them any points. And while technically women do not want sex as often as men, they still want the same things that men generally do. They might be a little bit lower in percentages, but essentially the women who are going to be held to politics are going to have to choose between being held to politics or mating. And I think a lot of them are going to end up deciding that men who have held their tongues for a long time, women will choose that they would rather just hold their tongues in this whole entire thing. So women have essentially lost out due to feminism, which is going to be it's ironic.
Oh, yeah.
And in some ways sad because the women's
also predictable.
Like I think along with Andrew Wilson that the female in men versus women, men need the N+1 vote because men conceptualize risk and cost better than women do. At least some of us do. Right, the ones who end up leading society, we throw the other ones in jail.
Well, I mean, at the bare level, men do math better than women. Period.
It's not even a math thing. It's not a math thing. It's just women have a tendency to be hyper empathetic, and empathy is great, and we should account for empathy.
And we do need it.
But we like all of those things are positive, but you can't run a society solely on empathy.
No.
Right? Like you can't be competing for right. You can't be competing for most empathetic of individuals all the time and have the outcomes be good. You need some level of objectivism, and men are better at that than women, right?
Unless
Um,
you're Keith Olbermann, which just a quick note, he had a wonderful thought earlier. I'll just share it with y'all, saying the Vice President of the United States needs to resign his office now.
Oh, is that all he thought?
Well, I would say that probably is about the extent of the thoughts that went through his head. Yes, probably over the last 3-4 days, but yes.
Deep thoughts with Keith Olbermann.
Mm-hmm. He's a thinky man.
Big things.
Big thunk. Just as a by the by, too, I believe his dad ran drugs for the CIA or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that sounds normal.
Tracks. Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? Let me just double check that. I don't want to put some shit like that out.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
Keith Olbermann, dad trafficking. Let's see what comes up with that.
Children? No.
All right, let's see. Theodore Olbermann. Scandal.
it would seem that the answer is no.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay. Well, how about that?
Shame on you, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Putting out the fake news like that.
I think, to be honest, I think he's thinking of Tucker Carlson.
That
Yeah,
could be.
His dad didn't run drugs, though.
Although
It
that
was
would not be
related to,
necessarily drug running.
CIA.
That would just be CIA.
Huh. Well, who am I thinking of? I could just be mistaken. That's entirely possible. Hold on. Why am I searching Google for this? Let me see if there's any real scandals related. Oh, okay. Nothing major.
I was going to say, you aren't going to be able to will it into existence if it doesn't exist.
No, and nothing big's coming up. So, yeah. All right. Fair enough. I guess they're...
So, Mr. Olbermann, you're off the hook this time.
What is it? I'll get you next time, Olbermann. And there will be a next time. I mean, come on.
Heathcliff.
I was going more for an Inspector Gadget, but you know. Yeah, you do what you can. You do what you can. But
Hey, Nura.
so there's a little thing that was it Jim Jordan or was it the guy that the speaker that fucks up all the time? Either way, it was either Jim Jordan or him that let slip that Donald Trump was a federal asset, and for some unknown.
Well, this should have been something you should have known, though. So let me just parse that.
We've talked about that actually, pretty much specifically.
This is not what I mean. Is just to parse it real quick.
Mike Johnson.
Johnson
is who said it.
There you go. He was thanked by a prosecutor for his cooperation in the 2009 case that led to the 2012 arrest of Jeffrey Epstein,
which then shortly fell apart when we have now learned he became an FBI asset.
Right. So like that tracks that he would have been that Trump would have been involved in the FBI case because he was involved in the state case that brought in Jeffrey Epstein in the first place. Like he was thanked as an informant, as an informational asset to the case. So it does not shock me that this was like an official thing at the national level. Now it's interesting that this would be what comes out right now, and that's somehow a scandalous issue.
Even
but
more.
I don't see it as a surprise.
Well, it does add some interesting context to his vehement denials on related to this and his specific.
And the fact that people said his name's in the file. You know, I could see how that would be
and
an
it's
issue.
Like, yeah, my name is in the file, motherfucker. I fucking help.
I don't see why he would wait to. No, this. Remember back when I said that he might be waiting to pull this out as a midterms issue. Again, I still think it is the height of stupidity to not just talk about it now, because you can always reference what you talk about now later. But waiting now makes you look fucking guilty as hell. Which is
it is.
Really
it is mad sus, and don't sleep on this one. Don, because
Just fucking say it, you know?
well, not only that,
Like,
but,
what are they gonna do? Say he's a snitch? He's the fucking president.
well, there's the thing, is there is a little bit more to it, and that is that we have, well, we got a bit from O'Keefe Media, and the acting deputy chief Joseph Schnitt got sat down with one of O'Keefe's people, and as happens,
Yeah, he said,
said
just take a
bunch
little
of shit
seat
he
over
shouldn't
here.
have.
Take a seat over here.
No. He sat aside from
I'm
someone that
being
was
facetious.
perfectly legally aged and everything. Although what they talked about might be of interest to Chris Hansen, because
Uh-huh.
and I'll throw a link to this here out of the Intellectualist that's included that and more, because there is more. Of course, there's more.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, James, just to quote real shortly here, said the plan was to redact all Republican names from the Epstein list, and that Maxwell's minimum
I
security...
fucking knew it.
Mm-hmm. And that the Maxwell
It's
minimum
so
security
dumb.
transfer was a benefit to keep her mouth shut against the standard policy of the Bureau of Prisons.
This is so stupid.
It is.
These guys, like, it's every time they fucking find a way to get their foot out of their mouth, the other one shows up.
Yeah, it's very much like
Fucking
that.
retards. Like, it's just like, you do not have to do this stuff. You do not have to protect pedophiles just because they share your political alignment.
Like, look, okay,
Like, there's no vote in the Congress that will make it better to have protected a pedophile. None. Not a single vote in Congress will ever make it better of benefit. Because at the end of the day, when it comes time to talk about your policies and how good or bad they are, you're gonna have the guy who thinks like shit standing next to your new bill, because it's gonna be the pedophile.
A lot of baggage there. A lot of baggage.
Like, it's so fucking easy. Just don't do things to protect pedophiles. How hard is this?
You would think that it wouldn't be so hard, but
it's just not. This is not a Mission Impossible challenge. This is just don't protect pedophiles. I mean, the whole Roblox thing is a great exercise in the same exact thing.
Yep.
Don't protect the pedophiles, and life is better. It's so easy. Just say no. I thought they made this thing like crystal clear in the 90s with drugs.
Just don't. Just don't.
Dare to do better, right?
So, anyway.
I mean, now that made a bunch of people do drugs. I'm not saying, however, that will make people do kids. Just dare to do better. Don't be a pedophile protector.
Yeah, you can do better. So, that was released the 4th at about 10:30 a.m. Let me see when exactly.
Oh, and there was a document drop for Epstein too, about 30,000 pages, I believe it was.
Yeah, and we're still waiting to. Well, we reported on that last week, and we're still waiting for that to be sorted through. But it does kind of look like there's not a lot of new stuff in there. Still waiting to hear more. But
weird.
Yeah, unsurprisingly.
Not a lot of new stuff, huh? A lot of old stuff again? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, kinda. Anywho,
public stuff.
Well, we'll get to the other bit, because there is some very interesting developments happening. We'll get there.
Well, I think the greater tell in all of this was the Nancy Mace and Anna Paulina Luna reactions to the hearing that they had.
Oh, we'll get to that, because that's where I want to go directly next. But we have a response from the U.S. Department of Justice. Now, like I said, the initial post was, I believe this was at 10:34 a.m. with a follow-up screenshot from a phone. I'll include the whole thing here, because it's a screenshot from a phone posted to the Justice Department, at the Justice Department, on Twitter.
Already?
Yeah. A phone at 10:42 in the morning in airplane mode with 30% battery left. So somebody had to come up with something quick. And what they came up with was this. Anyway, acting director Pollock. I met a woman named Skylar on him. Blah 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 blah. My profile. Blah blah blah. Whatever bullshit. Of course, it has since been community noted, as shown in the discrepancy between Joseph Schnitt's statement and the interview testimony.
I like that his name is Schnitt. I mean, I know it's immature, but
yeah, that's still good stuff. But as shown in the discrepancy between Joseph Schnitt's statement and the interview testimony, Mr. Schnitt disclosed which agency he worked for and his position within the DOJ. Oops. But, yeah, it's just so... It's like... Why? Like, just the absolute desperation that comes stinking off of this post is really something else. It's like they got some decent people in here, but I mean, for fuck's sake, they left the time and the airplane mode and the whole everything in. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if this speaks so clearly to other people of just how fucking desperate of a reply that was. And then, of course, and then it's bullshit too, because of course it was. So yeah, all of this is happening now. Good times, and
cool.
Yeah, yay. I don't even know what more to say about that one. It's stupid. Everything is very 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 dumb. But on the note of very dumb, I think this actually kind of surpasses very dumb and goes into maniacally evil. So there's a lady.
Okay, that's a transition.
It is. There's a lady we've spoken on, haven't in quite some while, because the affairs with which we had kind of a crossover didn't really do much anything other than maybe the occasional Sargon mention. Well, we're touching back on... well, no. I wouldn't even touch her. But we're going back onto the topic of Jess Phillips here.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So, Jess
Phillips, I guess, girl.
She has a history. A history of
She's
fucking
evil.
Up everything
Yes,
and being a
you're right.
evil
Maniacally evil.
So, we've learned something interesting lately. Jess Phillips, Minister for Safeguarding Girls, that's actually her position, admitted in Parliament that she had prior knowledge of what had been done to these young girls. But not only what had been done to them, but that police officers had participated in the rapes and the gangs. I will quote her now. I would be lying if I said that over the years I have not met girls who talked to me about how police were part of the perpetration, not just the cover-up. And for how many years? I don't know. The whole time we've been a thing here at the show, and longer, she's been saying that this isn't a problem.
So she, this is a woman who routinely as in every year when it is brought up for just the moment that it is allowed, permitted in her presence, who routinely laughs off the idea that men have anything to say about men's issues. And just outright evil to start with on that alone. Like, she's going after little girls with this shit, which is supposed to be her purpose in Parliament or whatever the fuck her position, her titled position.
Yeah.
Is to protect little girls.
Minister for Safeguarding Girls.
Which I'm sure is entirely a position created by her.
You have to imagine.
She is like one of the quintessentially pointless people in a position of power.
It's like those shitty
it's
HR
not even
people,
close.
But the shittiest HR person.
Yeah, and it's not even close. She is objectively an evil woman,
Yes.
and somehow she finagled a presence at the table, probably by screaming, "I'm female."
Who can even say?
You could probably ask her to define what a woman is and get a weird answer, much like we have with certain SCOTUS justices here.
Mm, yeah, that's a very real possibility.
But like, yeah, Jess Phillips should not ever have had any position of power ever because she is this level of incompetent, and
And
all of her compassion is bullshit. None of it is actually real.
and an admission like that, just and the thing is, it's because it's popular to talk about this now, and she's so fucking stupid that she's going to just put this out there, like, for the longest, I've heard about this for the longest time. Bitch, you what? Excuse me, what? For the
Explain further,
for
please.
years you've known about this, and you didn't say
And
a word.
spoke up when?
As a matter
right?
of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you spoke down to the people about this, and yet you knew.
Well, it was only just recently when she was being chased down by a bunch of invaders that she was happy to have come into the country, and then blamed all men for it. So you can't really expect her to have the two brain cells to rub together, aside from cackling. Like this is a person who is there is
worst
no
of
moral
us.
ambiguity to her.
None whatsoever. It's disgusting, really.
Yes, she is an obscene person.
Just and real quick, just to mention, as we stand currently, as Germany is tooling up for their elections, 7 alternative for Deutschland candidates have been assassinated.
AFD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It happened within the same what was it? 4 days? Less than that?
Yeah. Within like a week, seven AFD candidates were assassinated. Oh, sorry, died under mysterious circumstances that the police have
Well,
stated they will not.
I believe
be
the phrasing
investigating.
is they've died under circumstances,
Yes, indeed.
which is very helpful.
And of course, the police are saying that there is nothing to suspect, and since there's nothing to suspect, they will not be investigating.
And Heil Merkel, I'm sure.
So, there we are. What more is there to say than that? I'll tell you. I'll tell you exactly what more there is to say to that. And that's going to be coming from a Canadian man. Well, a Canadian male-presenting individual that is a police chief.
Fuck.
You know where I'm going. Well, he had some choice words. And I'll quote, and of course I'll throw up his thing here. And, well, he says,
this is why I'm glad we've stolen the word America for our country specifically. Canada doesn't fucking
deserve that shit at all. So he had this to say: if you ever find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into your own hands. The best defense is to comply. Don't engage. Sir.
Fuck off.
Fuck you. Forever.
I laughed because I don't really have like a constructive response to that besides go fuck yourself.
I will say
it's hilarious
what
to
I
me.
always say. The first responder is always you. And that's the simple point.
I mean, it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. And there are people in the United States who speak like that, who say dumb shit like you should retreat or else you're gonna get arrested. It's like, motherfucker, I would gladly be judged by 12 rather than carried by 6. Go fuck yourself.
And on that, on the note of
not a question.
On the note of public judgment, since it doesn't seem we're going to be getting the trial by jury, tying back to what we were talking about previously, and the trial that doesn't seem to be wanting to manifest despite the great desires of everyone injured by it and looking on from the sidelines at why in the fuck aren't you talking about it, right, Donnie? Is the survivors that spoke with Miss Luna and Nancy Mace, I believe. Well, anyway.
Now I will say this at the head. I'll say this at the head.
What's that?
I'll say this at the head. Mace should not have made that about her by running out of the room, vomiting, and crying.
I don't think she was making it about her.
She did not make it about her by just doing that. She made it about her by pushing the headline.
What headline did she push?
Nancy Mace rushes out of blah 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 after suffering this, that, and the other.
But like people are gonna report what they're gonna report, right? Like if she's having an emotional reaction to the thing, like I don't
discreetly. That's what I say. Don't make a scene.
I mean that's a lot easier to say as a man, and
yes,
B, it's a lot easier to say as somebody who hasn't actually undergone sexual assault in like the previous year, right?
Sure.
Those are two very, very, very different factors.
Now, here's the reason why I say this, because specifically, it's not like she didn't know what the fuck she was going into here.
Yeah, I understand that, but it doesn't change the fact that
if you're in Congress, your job is to be there for the people, not for yourself. And I know that
I don't think she was being there for herself. Like I think that's a mischaracterization of what happened.
In any event,
I understand what you're saying.
That's what I was saying at the set. That's what I was saying at the outset.
Well, that's your call on the issue, and whatever. That's your take.
Welcome to have. I think that Congress is still human, and don't get me wrong.
Bits and pieces.
They approximate it.
Bits and pieces are yes. Much like Darth Vader.
Most of them still.
More machine than man. But
I don't think that they're necessarily making good. I think Congress is idiots. I don't necessarily think they're like inhuman.
It takes a village.
Well.
So anyway, that's what I said at the outset. But there's more important shit to talk about.
So the survivors,
specifically what it was about.
They are since nothing's happening with this, and no one is fucking doing anything that should be. They're just gonna do it. They're going to put together the list,
kind of
built from the flight logs, the emails, and from firsthand accounts, and then
they're going to give it to someone who can say it. So the big issue here is they would incur significant personal liability if they said the names out loud themselves. But what they can do is give them to the Congress critters, who absolutely have every right to say whatever the fuck they want on the floor without legal liability. They have that protection as privileged members in Congress, and that's what they're going to use that power for, is to say the names that these people cannot say out loud in public. Because they will be civilly liable if they do. And the nice thing about this is that foreknowledge of the source is not going to cause them any civil liability. It's just going to be the people who spoke on the floor. It's their liability. Now, they might try to argue that in court, but then again, court's just going to throw it out. It's hardly going to be an issue to lawyer up for, which is going to be a good thing, because that otherwise will be victimizing them over and over again, which we shouldn't allow.
Yeah, that is the situation.
So thankfully, these people are going to do their job as people in Congress. They're going to be doing their damn job as Americans. They're going to be, hopefully soon, releasing a list of people that were involved. Now, here's another interesting card in all this, is the one who was recruited at 17 and then went on to help bring in like 200 more victims. I saw someone saying like, why the fuck isn't she being locked up? I thought, that's easy to say. Clearly she's still like totally fucked up from it this many years later. This is not a Soros kind of moment. It could be that she's a sociopath or a psychopath, and that she's faking it. I don't think so.
Could be Stockholm.
And I wouldn't be one qualified to judge, because I certainly haven't interacted with this person. This is not someone who's like in public a whole lot.
People do Patty Hearst,
Yeah.
So people can be brainwashed into lots of things. They can find women are built to be able to adapt to bad situations, and that adaptation can sometimes go very sideways. And that's just genetics. Just the fucking way it is. Sorry. That's the way a species survives.
But again, yeah, there's some pushback on involving that one who brought in like 200 others.
Yeah, no, to say that
because of the scale of that.
Yeah, it's a whole nother issue. But you know.
But I don't know. I mean, I think if she's a victim in that way, you know, and she's clearly not happy that she did that, you know, that as a survival thing, that's a thing. And it doesn't even have to be Stockholm syndrome. It can be like, do it or you're going to get raped and murdered. In which case, it's really hard to say no to that.
I bet. That's
you know, you can dress it up in pretty parties, which is largely what they did. Doesn't make the cruelty and the barbarity of it any less.
And speaking of cruelty and barbarians, I'd like to share a quote from Jean Raspail. Your universe has no meaning to them. They will not try to understand. They will be tired. They will be cold. They will make a fire with your beautiful oak door. Now, surely this, I'm saying this just out of nowhere. No, not really. There's a fella. Don't know where he's from, but he seems like one of those tan Germans. Or in this case, maybe a tan Belgian. Because something happened in Brussels a few days ago. There's this thing called the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Many people are familiar with it.
Yes.
Exonerates.
Yes. I'm glad you're covering this one.
Not exonerates. It celebrates the lives of the many people, soldiers that died in World War I, the nameless, faceless masses who we'll never know. All these men who died.
It's like our Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, it's kind of important, kind of incredibly important, and it has an eternal flame.
Kind of a major cultural thing.
Yeah, a cultural touchstone, quite literally, and they have an eternal flame there, as we do at our own. Well, what happened there? There was some illegal, and he wanted an omelet, and he had a pan, and he saw a fire,
yep.
And so he.
What's a man to do?
And so, your universe has no meaning to them. They will not try to understand. They will be tired. They will be cold. They will make a fire with your beautiful oak door.
Yep.
Not the greatest of times, but people are noticing at record levels and becoming increasingly less comfortable by the day. They need to get even less comfortable. And
it's going to take a miracle of one variety or another.
Speaking of miracles, we talked about the crazy dude that went and shot up a church, church school to kill a bunch of kids because whatever. Well, I'll have you know, out of mistakes, miracles. I'd like to share a statement from fan of the show, Stephen King.
Oh, yes.
I never in all my days did I expect this page to turn.
Oh, but, boy. I know what you're going to say.
But it would appear that we have written a new chapter in the history of Stephen King. And I quote, trans is not the problem. He had a gun. That's the problem. Stephen, by golly.
Bravo. He came around, people. He came around.
Baby steps. Baby steps, Stephen.
We found a way to make him understand.
He's getting there. He's getting bumped along the line.
One school shooting at a time.
It's like he's bumping along, getting you know, getting his mind blown by these things. You know, he's on the line to a good future, I would say.
Now, if only he could talk with his buddy Tim Walz and get better access to school shooters.
Well, Tim has. Yeah, he said that's according to Tim. He's got direct access, and then that muscular and fairly athletically built guy that was that big fat guy, also that wore the mask and killed those people. That the fat guy was paid by Tim Waltz to do it or something. Where does this? I don't know. I'm just quoting all the shit that happened. And that's literally all the shit that happened. Wish I had something better for you. Don't. That's just it. Huh. Oh, but some good news. Good news. The L.A. Department of Water Protection has just a wonderful proposal. It's probably going to save a bunch of lives. They're wanting
Have water?
No. What? No. They're They're going to drain the reservoir again.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Okay.
It's a great idea.
I mean, so the opposite of that. The opposite.
Oh,
got it.
Yes, right. Yeah, I get those mixed up.
Oh man, for a second there, I thought they were gonna want to use a liquid with a high heat capacity that puts out fires. You know, before they spread to entire areas.
Oh, like gasoline.
I was mistaken.
Yeah.
I was mistaken. You know how people can just they just make mistakes like that.
Little
mistakes.
You know who else makes mistakes? Voice
Yeah,
actors.
who makes mistakes?
Voice actors. Make
Yes,
mistakes.
they do. Yes, they do.
And sometimes they find themselves regretting the mistakes that they've made.
Sometimes they get hoisted on their own retard.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes Sung
My
Won
favorite are the
Cho
Defenders.
at ProZD.
Who say
sometimes
some of my favorites, the Defenders who say he didn't say those things, and then while people are quoting directly the source material with the screen cap, mind you, not like this is a he said she said, with the screen cap quoting him and his dumb words from his dumb head.
Yeah. So, just to paraphrase, he was very, very insistent that voice actors should only portray the races that they are, which is, of course, he and Ravi are the big reasons why Apu got a new voice, and he specifically is the reason why the fucking guy in the new King of the Hill isn't doing the voice of Khan.
Yeah,
it's literally him and his bullshit. So anyway, he's playing like some Mexican dude in some new thing, and that's fine.
Fired?
No.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the pro retard.
Oh.
He wanted an opportunity to voice a white character, I believe it was, and was told he couldn't do it. That's why he started to have a little tantrum.
Oh yeah, he did, and then that's the history. Now it has come back around, and he is able to voice a white character. And
okay, yes.
And
That
then
makes sense.
people, understandably, took umbrage to that, and they brought it up with him, like, hey, Mr. Cho, didn't you have a position where people should only be staying in their lane, as it were? Wasn't that your deal? To which he said, I don't have his exact words because he's disappeared off the net, and I don't have his fucking exact reply because he
decided to go private on Twitter after blocking a bunch of people.
A
bunch of people noticed
that he did. So
that he was going to do something, a certain job.
Yeah, I can't read his reply, but I do remember he was getting upset that people were calling him out on his bullshit. Well, maybe don't talk a bunch of bullshit, you fucking faggot.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know, just saying.
Indeed.
Wouldn't be a bad thing. You know, don't make your bed so fucking uncomfortable if you don't want to fucking sleep in it.
I don't know. He seems like the kind of guy who needs to get off his ass.
Well, yeah, he's
He has a little
he's
extra
something.
heft to him.
He does. He does.
I mean, I'm speaking as a fat ass over here myself, but
Same. I have some of the fucking winter clothes when I went to put them on today because it was cold or like not fitting right. It's like, damn it. Did not like that.
I mean, look, all you have to do is just use some of your available insulation, and once it melts away, put on the synthetic stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. And actually, we already got the plan. No more snacks, no more desserts.
Very good stuff.
That'll make a difference. I mean, I don't have a lot of snacks.
Hang up a picture of RFK. I'm sure it'll help.
Yeah, he's accusatory gaze. But yeah,
that guy is going to get himself kicked out before midterms, and he might be a midterm issue if he doesn't slow his stuff down.
He is making a lot of waves.
He's gonna rock. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that he's rocking the boat on some issues, but there are also other issues where he does not need to be doing that, and it's going to cost Trump significantly later on if it's not corralled a little bit.
Oh well, I mean, he does
have
a
little
that
third
third
wrangling,
term, Trump 2028. So I've got to be worried about these things.
Exactly, very very much true. So he.
Speaking
of that,
I think it's a mixed bag with him. I think it's a real mixed bag with him. I agree. So like if you take a look at the hearing that he had earlier this week, depending on whether you're left or right, I have seen equal quantities of support and refutation on him, and most of the refutation is he's not an expert, yada yada yada, and most of the support is like he fucking crushed it. And I'm like, I don't know what the general consensus is. I can say that my perspective is that I saw some of the rebuttals, and I thought they were good on his part. I also understand that he's taking flack, and I understand why he's taking flack. But I do think that there needs to be, I think we need to be a little bit. One of the things that you end up running into is you can't have sacred cows in science. And I think vaccines have been a sacred cow in medicine for a very long time.
Oh, sure.
And I remember I think where I started really ignoring the COVID stuff. The COVID stuff is the COVID stuff. But I remember seeing an ad, and I don't typically see ads. I think we were probably watching TV in a hotel or something like that we were staying in. And it was for meningitis, like meningitis A or something like that was what the vaccine was for. And meningitis is a super fucking rare condition. It's super fucking rare. Why would you take a vaccine for that? And so I looked it up because it came on, like all pharmaceuticals.
Everybody has to do that for. Everyone has to take that for college, basically.
But it was some new one, but the total number of cases per year is 5. And I was really struggling with this, and I really do struggle with this idea that we should be mass vaccinating on that. I certainly don't think it should go to the childhood schedule.
Well, some of the hepatitis issues are basically intravenous.
The hepatitis one's another good one.
It's like, are you having risky sex and doing intravenous drugs? Then yeah, but why are we giving this to kids?
Well, we don't give kids hepatitis C vaccinations because hepatitis C is the intravenous one, but hepatitis B is not. That one's foodborne. It doesn't
really matter which version of hepatitis. The point is still the same. Fundamentally, should we be giving babies something where the risk factors are intravenous drug use and
Well, no, so that's what I was just saying is you're not giving them hepatitis B is not risk factored by intravenous drug use. Neither is Hep A. And you also don't get Hep B as a baby. You don't get it as an infant. You get it as a little kid.
Yeah, but I mean,
Actually,
even
no,
then,
they have
last-
updated that. The HEP schedule is much younger now.
That's
I mean, I remember that shit locking up my leg for a while after one of them.
Yeah,
That
well,
sucked ass.
well,
but
now
I mean,
they
that's
do it a
perfect
lot sooner.
Example is I'm a big proponent of MMR, right? You look at measles, mumps, and rubella. Measles, mumps, and rubella. Almost all of them have like a 5% fatality rate. That is unacceptable in a
And
fucking society.
just
Well,
as
Hep
it stands,
B,
just
as
real
an
quick,
example, wrecks your liver.
to put it out there on the Hep B schedule. At birth is when the first dose is recommended. 1 to 2 months is when the second dose is recommended. 6 to 18 months is the third dose. That is way too fast.
So like, I'm okay with like Tdap, DTaP. I like Tdap, DTaP. I like MMR. I think those are great vaccines. I think that they are absolutely something that we should encourage and promote and all of those other things. But when you start talking about some of these more esoteric diseases that don't have the same level of like if I can be in a classroom with kids and not catch it, like if I have to do something like intravenous drug use or get fucking raped by the
Well,
teacher or something
here's another
like that.
example. Chickenpox is one that people are getting vaccinated for, and there's also a shingles vaccine. These are things that were not around when I was younger that I fucking wish were, because now I can get shingles because I had chickenpox. And it was like measles back then, where you were just kind of encouraged to play with kids that already fucking had it. And why? Because there wasn't a vaccine for it. Sucks.
I mean, but at the same time, right? Like I think the problem that you run into is that every single time you deep cycle your immune system, every single fucking time, you are inducing inflammation. You are inducing symptomatic results, and you are training it to be responsive. So I think when we start talking about the childhood vaccine schedule, one of the problems that you have is that we're deep cycling it rapidly for like shitloads of fucking pathogens that you're basically never going to see. And
Well,
like,
that's kind of the point, isn't it? Because you don't want them to persist in the population. That's why you don't see them, because we kept the population down.
Measles, mumps, and rubella is one thing because it's a very, very infectious disease. It spreads rapidly and has a high kill rate. Measles, mumps, and rubella, you should absolutely vaccinate people against. Hepatitis B, maybe not so much. Right?
Duke, so here's the reason. Here's the reason, just real quick, as to why I would say.
No. There's no reason, right? Like the bottom line is the vector transmission. I can sit in a classroom with a child and get it. And if the answer to that is no, we shouldn't be vaccinating kids against that. Right? If sitting in a classroom and catching it from the kid is not a vectoral transmission pathway, that shouldn't be on the vaccine schedule. End of discussion.
That's a
right.
fair
Like
argument.
if you wanna turn around and you want to get a vaccine for something, like I don't think it's necessarily bad if you're 16, 17 years old, you're just starting to have sex. Like I don't think it's unreasonable to pick up a hepatitis vaccine. But if I cannot catch it just by physically being in the room with another child, it should not be on a vaccine schedule. It should not be a mandatory vaccine. And we should probably be like anything, even in that, we should probably be sitting there and saying, hey, what's the probability for this age group and what is the benefit? If it's not something that's got a kill rate of like 5%.
The benefit is not nuking your liver. The benefit's not nuking your liver.
Yeah,
you can't replace those inevitably.
So hepatitis B is not transmissible by sitting in a classroom. It's not transmissible that way. So it should not be on the vaccine schedule at all.
Just another real quick.
Sure. If Craig wants to take it, I think Craig should be able to take it.
Well, sure, but
I don't think it should be something that's required for children.
Note on all of that. How many 18-month-olds are in school? Right?
Well, here's another question for you. How many 18-month-olds will be in school? Not are in, will be in. Because that really, like, that's going to be kind of the question here.
So
it's not an immediate thing.
The
question should not be who gets what when.
Appropriate.
The question should be projected actual risk. It should be based on vectors of transmission and projected actual risk. If you have something that is not transmissible, sitting next to another child in a fucking classroom, right? Then it should not in any way, if it's not something that's like contact with, normal fucking snot and shit, it should not be on the vaccine schedule. Bottom fucking line.
So, for instance,
Like, if you do not have a vectoral path,
well,
it should not be included.
perfect example. Polio is transferred through shit into the digestive system. And that alone isn't much, but you might have a kid scratch their ass and eat it and, touch something that goes around the class.
Sure.
So there you go. Polio. All right, cool. Smallpox. Okay. That's one that, just
smallpox should not be on
around
the
it.
schedule. Smallpox has been eradicated and should not be considered on the schedule.
Oh, that's
right.
fair.
Like we need to balance.
Okay, that's fair.
There's two things that we need to balance. One is route of exposure, right? If it's not a reasonable or rational route of exposure for the age of the child or prior to the age of the child, then you should not be sitting there and exposing the child to that,
Well,
right? Like maybe you can turn around and start saying, hey, here's this sexually transmitted disease, and we'll start looking at 12 to 14-year-olds, and maybe we'll start vaccinating them there. But we're not going to do that shit when you're a fucking child. That should be stuff that is transmissible by contact or respiratory viruses only.
or
So we have a viral transmission pathway.
Put this out. You're not going to give it to from birth to 18 months. You're going to wait until they're about to go into school if you're going to do that.
Or something like that, or and it's got to be a reasonable.
Is, I was going to tie into the potentially AIDS was created as a failed smallpox vaccine, but that's it may be.
I'm not going to go for the conspiracy theories there. I just like that's where I'm at with vaccines. I'm looking at the schedule now, and it's like it's a crazy number of vaccines. And we need to be very honest that there is a very perverse financial incentive associated with pharmaceutical companies. They have immunity. They're immune from liability. And
how many times are you going to get a vaccine? These childhood vaccines.
I think that you should only be getting a vaccine when it's a reasonable and rational life risk.
Okay, assuming you have those life risks, how many times are you going to get? How many times do you get MMR in life?
I mean,
if we're talking financial incentives here, you'd think Advil would be a way, way, way more important one, wouldn't you?
It doesn't matter, right? Like they make a product and they sell it on the open market, and if everybody has to take it, then they're going to make money off of it. If nobody has to take it, then they have to actually sell you on its benefits.
What I'm saying is that
by the way,
products that have a massive margin on them.
It doesn't matter, right?
I get it.
Just because they have a shitty margin on them doesn't justify mass vaccination when there isn't a viable or realistic vector path. One, and number two, it doesn't justify transmission if it's a particularly low risk disease. Right, like I don't think. Obviously, we're all in agreement that the COVID mandates were wrong morally for a lot of different reasons.
A case in point on all of this is the monkeypox and the vaccine that we're working on, because it was so dangerous, and then all of a sudden, kids and dogs start getting it, and now we don't talk about monkeypox anymore, or a vaccine or anything. Because everything became so uncomfortable for the wrong people.
Well, you see what was talked about right after that was, PrEP works for this. We should use PrEP for it instead.
And let's not even talk about what that's doing to the... that is such a bad idea.
Oh, no, you see, homosexual lifestyles are perfectly normal and just like the straight ones, but you need to take this pill, otherwise the homosexual sex will kill you. Which is an argument, a fucking argument that is made. It's not my argument, because I think it's pretty ridiculous.
But I mean, that's kind of the point, right? Like, why not just sit there and put everybody on PrEP because, hey, there's this potential life risk? Well, no, it's fucking stupid.
Because it's every fucking day. That's the reason. That's the bigger reason, but that's the practical reason.
Right.
Don't go into ethics or morals on it, or even the statistical justifications. Every fucking day? Are you kidding me? A new pill? Just to live? Fuck that.
No. I disagree. Like, whether it's every day or whatever, right? Like, we shouldn't
every medication has side effects and risks. Every medication has side effects and risks, right?
Yes.
So we need to balance, and by
That's
the
what
way,
talking to your doctor is
there's
supposed to be
unknown
about,
risks.
is balancing
There's
that risk.
yeah, I know, but the problem is the doctors are all incentivized to sit there and vaccinate kids to the maximum nth degree on everything all the time. And again, I'm not opposed to vaccines. I've said MMR is very good. I think Tdap, DTaP is very good because these are high transmission rates, very high transmission rates on all of these diseases. There's things that can be caught by children in the classroom just by sitting around other children in a classroom. And as long as there is a reasonable disease vector, I think it's not unreasonable to vaccinate against it. But every single time you deep cycle the vaccine, you are going to introduce inflammation. You are going to introduce various other risks. And, hyperactive immune system, when we start talking about the chronic disease epidemic, it's not just autism. Obviously, that's the one that everybody wants to sit there and point to something like vaccines.
Well, we just learned from our
things.
emissary RFK that Tylenol might be responsible, not just vaccines.
I mean,
the guy does have his flaws.
I'm not saying he doesn't, right? I'm not saying he doesn't, but I saw somebody sit there and post something along the lines of, "Hey, why is it that Tylenol would be considered the risk for autism?" And as an individual who's got a pregnant wife, the answer to that is very simple. It is the only approved painkiller for pregnant women.
Yeah.
So we actually can
Basically.
easily get a signal out of that data. Whether or not you believe it's safe,
naproxen
the
raises your
reason
blood pressure
that we
too
can
much,
actually,
and Advil causes bleeding.
at the end of the day, the problem that you have is that we don't know what causes autism. We don't know what causes it. If we don't know what causes it, it's very easy to pick correlations. And when you have drugs, that it's the only option for the specific drug to induce whatever the effect is, then you can get a very clear signal for a correlation there. Because, and by the way, that correlation is not causation. The individual who's very likely to take a pain pill while pregnant is also the individual who's very maybe more likely to take a variety of other pills while pregnant, and it could be any one of a series of different things.
That was going to be the next thing. Was it's not in a vacuum. I mean, you could do an analysis over a large corpus of people,
Right?
potentially
Right,
get a signal.
and that's
You're
the
certainly not going to have
that
a
has
pilot
never
study that gives
been
anything
done.
useful.
To be fair, so at least now we're finally asking the questions.
Well, see, that's the part I'm okay with, is doing the science part of it. What I don't like is the assertion that the hypothesis must be true prior to, the anti-null hypothesis.
Well,
is
let's
not
also
helpful.
bear in mind too that we are basing a lot of this on reporting from the same press that literally hates us.
Yeah.
So
Now, what I also think is true. What I also think
I agree with Craig for the most part. I agree with Craig for the most part. Like I do take issue with the idea of deep cycling your immune system without a justification for doing so. Right? I think it's very rational to sit there and say, "Hey, I appreciate that you want to, make us immune to X, and it doesn't matter what X is, but what's my real probability of catching X in the circumstances in which I'm going to be taking this thing?" That's number one.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Number two
it'd be cool
is
not to
there
ever
are
get Ebola, but how bad is the vaccine?
right, exactly. Well, not even how bad the vaccine is, right? Because at the end of the day, whenever we talk about these like low level stochastic effects, right? Like if you turn around and have a great example is the COVID vaccine, right? Which looks very strongly like it did nothing for COVID. And it did introduce things like all of the pericarditis and a variety of other different effects, which was all well, maybe. Again, the cancer trend has actually been trend's been going on before the COVID vaccine was rolled out.
The cancer thing, for as far as COVID's relation to it, is because we closed down all the fucking cancer wards. Like that is a problem when you have routine screening that would have caught it, and you go, "Oh no, it's there."
But there is some anecdotal evidence that cancer.
Yeah, there's bullshit evidence. I'm sorry, that anecdotal is not going to cut it on that.
Well, you're going to have to ask someone that isn't a complete layman like me to give you more than anecdotal. Sorry.
That's fair.
From what I've seen, that there was not enough information to approve the COVID vaccine where it was.
Yeah,
They produced a bunch of shit. The actual risk factors are health of mother and child, health of, or it has to do with reproductive success, and it has to do with something like cancer. Those effects are things that are going to take place over 30 years. It's not going to be something that you're going to notice in 5. And to turn around and sit there and pump a vaccine out, whether it be the technology itself, which had never been evaluated before, or whether it was the actual specific protein that it coded for, both of which you're not going to know until such time as you get those like 30-year out studies. So the mandate was morally wrong, especially because the virus itself was not particularly threatening and had about a 1 in 2,500 chance of killing you, which is not, that's not low, but it's also like we generally accept life risks of 1 in 1,000.
Yeah.
So it was 2.5 times less deadly than what we consider than like driving, and we think driving is perfectly okay and everybody can go do it, right? The problem with the COVID vaccine is, again, they decided to way oversell what their technical credibility was, and that's opened the door to a lot of these other vaccine questions, which, when somebody turns around and takes a look and says, hey, we've got 72 diseases that we're vaccinating against, hold on a minute there, like, what's the actual risk that a kid's going to be exposed to hepatitis B? By the time ignoring by the time the vaccine actually applies, but like within the period of time at which you're giving it, what's the probability the kid's going to be exposed to it? And the answer is very low. And you say, okay, so there's all these unknowns that we have with everything, and that's just inherent to science. That's inherent to science. It's inherent to medicine. So if we have all these unknowns, then how can we turn around and say that here's this thing that the kid is not actually at risk of being exposed to? And oh yeah, by the way, despite the fact that they're not actually at risk, we're going to mandate that they take this thing that we don't know the full risk profile on. That's fucked up. That's really fucked up, and that's essentially what we're doing.
Yeah, that's fair. Another fucked up thing that's directly related to this. We've got some whistleblowers out of the CDC, and what's been happening is quote simple sabotage, and they're trying to get RFK out. This is reporting out of Benny Johnson. So just a quote here. We've got.
Well, it's interesting you bring those people up. So one thing real quick,
Yeah.
The expert that a lot of people have been talking about, the guy who just got ousted, very happy to sell his personal life to the public, separate from the CDC, when he's strapped up in BDSM gear.
Yeah.
Basically, it looks like another one of the nuclear regulatory incident kind of people. And that's just it's of course being totally ignored, as that might be a reason why he's slightly upset with the current administration.
Yeah.
But they're not a whole bunch of sexual fucking deviants.
Yeah, that's
well, and that's a whole, I kind of think when you turn around as somebody who gets fired, you sit there and talk about how dangerous the administration is, regardless of whether it's this administration or the Biden administration. It's kind of a hose mad thing. Like,
exactly.
Sure.
Like, you got fucked, and now you're mad that you didn't get what you want.
Now,
like,
in this
I
case,
get
it's
it.
not people that have been fired. It's people that are still there that are actually trying to get him out because they don't like what he's doing. Matter of fact,
so after this guy was getting all public, he has whistleblowers.
Here, do everything possible to delay the delivery of orders, adopt a non-cooperative attitude and induce others to follow suit, snarl up administration in every possible way, try to commit acts for which large numbers of people could be responsible.
This is so clinically described that it sounds like it was out of a presser.
Yeah, let's see here. Snarl up administration.
Adopt an uncooperative attitude and induce it in others. That sounds like it's out of a fucking court statement.
Snarl up administration every way possible. Fill out forms illegibly so that they will have to be done over. Make mistakes or admit requested information in forms. Try to commit acts for which large numbers of people would be responsible. For example, if you blow out the wiring in a factory at the... Wow. If you blew out
Seriously?
the wiring in a factory at the central
Really?
firebox, almost anyone could. Man, they're just throwing out some really big examples there.
So this is
Damn.
terrorist activities. What this is?
It reads a little bit like it, man. What do we have here? Demand
That
written
is-
orders, misunderstand orders, do everything possible to delay delivery of orders. Oh yeah, we've got their whole thing, and it is. Nuh-uh. It's wow, they pulled it all from old CIA shit. Of course they did. Of
Tradecraft
course they
almost,
did.
isn't it?
Yeah, truly, wet work even. Maybe we'll see. They're at least doing that over in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are.
Well, anyway, we've
All right, we're at like 1:30.
yeah, we've run way late. I don't mind going a little longer, but it's I know you guys have like lives outside.
Well,
of things.
let me chuck some stuff at you that I had. I've been sending DMs to our fake Untitled Productions account, kind of as a way of just a little list of my own. When he asked me
Also,
if we have anything.
just real quick, because this actually did literally break fucking just earlier today. Cannot verify, as it comes from the Chans, but we have some wild shit. November 18th, Half-Life 3. Project lead, Robin Walker. Development time, 7 years. 2019
Gentlemen,
to
the end
2026.
times are coming.
Developer
Half-Life 3
count
is going to come
95.
out.
Source 2 engine. Release date first quarter 2026. I'm guessing that the November 18th is going to be the reveal date.
So
if this is
November 17th is going to be the end of the world. We now have our Mayan calendar prediction.
Of all the people that deserve immortality, we need to figure out how to get forgave. Because that man is the only one that can run Steam.
He is. I'll reiterate my offer. I will happily take in those millions of dollars and preside over Steam for the rest of my life.
And now that said, maybe
the guy who has to tell the assholes to go fuck themselves, I will happily take that honor.
He should probably, talk with she and Vlad because they were overheard on a recent hot mic talking about living forever, which is realistically the disease of aging is just that. It is a disease and can be fought and beaten.
Well, that is what our guest did believe in his TED Talk, is that aging is a disease that can be overcome. We have modern technology.
Indeed, and I have to reach back out to Dr. DeGray and try and get him back on because that was a great show. So we will be reaching back out to Dr. Aubrey DeGray to try and get him back on for a follow-up on those mouse trials that he was doing because I'd really legitimately like to know what happened.
Yes, that's right.
But
we are due for a follow-up.
That said, fellas, was there anything else either of you guys were wanting to hit on?
I have things.
Go on. What you got?
So, was this out of Politico? I think it is. Let me just drop in Showlinks stuff here, or staff chat. Here you go. So, age verification provider is potentially leaking information about people visiting pornographic websites in a report from the nonprofit AI Forensics, shared exclusively with Politico EU. So again, this whole notion that everyone needs to ID themselves online. Oh, by the way, the Starmer, whole thing, this great one was a solution to whatever the fuck thing was to the migrants was everyone should have there should be ID for everybody that you have to use for everything. And the migrants just wouldn't get an ID. That's how you'd be able to prove you're actually a British citizen, which again just means that you'd have to use your ID to go online. I mean, so his solution was not to stop the boats, but to give everybody who's already there an ID, which means that won't prevent the migrants, of course, from getting an ID because it doesn't exist in his world that it's possible that they could lie. But yeah, so of course, now that you are going to all these porn sites and using your fucking photo ID there, the data breaches are going to be that much funnier. And I don't remember if you remember this, but there was that adulterers website that, of course, had a data breach.
Oh yeah, no, I remember we reported on that.
Ashley Madison.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And how funny it was that happened when people had recognizable email addresses and passwords.
Funny how it
But
just
now they're
keeps
going to have
happening.
a fucking photo ID attached to it. A photo ID attached to that kind of data. That's going to be very interesting later on.
That's
And let's
true.
see. In the UK, 11-year-old English boy attempting to raise his nation's flag stopped by 5 police officers until the mother showed up to get after them. Now, of course, the police officers are forcing these children to identify themselves so that they could record who they are and assign them a hate crime in their database from a very young age. That was wonderful.
You've
out
got
of
to
Britain.
track these ne'er-do-wells starting early.
Exactly. And then, of course, there was the Muslim Defense League that was roaming the streets with weaponry and not a single police officer deployed. And this is in England, of course.
Now, is this the one where they came out to him and said, "Hey guys, you shouldn't be walking out with weapons. You should leave those at home. That's not safe. You wouldn't want to hurt yourself." Was that?
No. This is where
it
they
happened
didn't say
again.
shit to him.
I got it.
Yeah, that's where they didn't say shit to him. Yeah. And this is one,
they just
and,
let it
and
slide.
It wasn't
Got
at home. It wasn't leave your weapons at home with that one. It was, could you kindly take your weapons to the mosque and we'll not look that way. You know that, and then come back out without the weapons. We'll just not look that direction and not see the weapons, and we'll call it square. Now this was not one of those incidents. This was just the police didn't fucking show up after being called repeatedly. Let's see. We got this one. The Biden White House emails confirming Joe Biden himself did not review pardons before they were sent to the auto pen.
Come out, yeah.
Which again, I say,
by the way,
show arrests because that'd be nice.
Yeah, show arrests.
Let's see.
Just that.
Time is we actually get somebody who's gonna get arrested for their crimes, like.
Exactly. Can we like have that? Let's see. The Patel says the FBI stopped potential preschool massacre. Unacceptable acts of cowardice. A North Carolina man was charged with making online threats to massacre dozens of black children. So that's a positive story out of the FBI, is that they caught this motherfucker and they got him into custody. And then here's one out of Dearborn Heights so this is a Michigan thing, so Dearbornistan. I don't know if you saw the design of their police patch.
Yeah,
this is great.
Updated.
It had now this was since complained about by none other than the owner of Kiwi Farms himself, and then somehow it kind of disappeared and is no longer going to be the police patch.
Huh.
But it has Dearborn Heights and police also written in, I believe it's Farsi underneath each of the respective words.
I assumed it said something about.
It's Arabic.
Bomathon,
that's what it is.
Inshallah, but who can say? I'm not fluent in that language.
Now, let's see. So Google and YouTube signed a $45 million deal, blah, 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 something or another, Gaza related, doesn't matter. But Odyssey quoted this, said Odyssey is not a political streaming platform. This is where we have common ground on this kind of stuff. Say what you will about Israel, Gaza, etc. The fact that platforms like Odyssey are not willing to start favoring people for this shit, either way, that's pretty solid. I like that. Just be a platform. That's nice.
Now,
speaking of that, on Google,
I will make a quick
they got
note
fined.
There, just on the Odyssey thing. I've got a friend who's had a lot of issues. It would take a whole episode to go through. We should probably try and
next week
do that. But no, we'd need to.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see about that, because it's been an ongoing thing for like the past decade. Okay, you remember The Shield with Michael Chiklis? The show?
Vaguely.
Like, there's this group of corrupt cops and they're just doing fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, imagine that's a group of Garda in Ireland. And
this person, okay.
Yeah, and got wrapped up in some of that shit and shouldn't ever have, and it's just spiraled from then. And
I know you're
Odyssey
talking
was
about
one of the last places to keep a lot of that content, but where it's also kind of inflammatory. There were Odyssey will only do so much. I love my guys, but
No, that's fair.
they have their own lines, so it is what it is. Just got to put that out there. Got to be honest. And nowhere is perfect, unfortunately.
That's fair. Now, also with Google, so they got a slap on the wrist, a very tiny slap on the wrist for the lawsuit the settlement that was just done with the federal government
from the antitrust
and
lawsuit.
that was no. So this one was over the exposure of leaked data.
Oh, this one was that one, not the
for collection of data when you're using incognito mode, et cetera, et cetera. It's related to the antitrust stuff, but basically, what they got like a $400 million or whatever settlement with the federal government, which is nothing. So years back when I wrote the article about the uploads to YouTube alone as a part of Google. So Google had like a $36 billion turnover or $37 billion that year. I think it was 2012-ish. That has only since grown, in the past intervening 13 years. So they're taking in tons of money. Now, if it was on the scale of $37 billion back then, and they've only grown since then, $400 million is fucking nothing. Like, it's gonna hurt. It's not like it's gonna be absolutely nothing, but like it's not gonna destabilize the company. It sure as shit is not gonna put a big enough hole in their finances for the employees to feel a whole lot. It's not gonna be a belt tightening scenario. They're gonna take that out as a loan if they're gonna have to do anything.
Yeah, well, it was like
and then
me
we'll just
going
pay it back.
shopping for groceries tonight. It's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have got quite as many, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's the extra bag of Cheetos. It's not gonna kill them. So, let's see. Next one. Blah, blah, blah. Here we go. MJ Truth Ultra. I don't generally like sharing personal messages, but there seems to be a pattern of people being paid for their political opinions needs to be exposed. This is related to the India thing.
Yeah.
Ryan Fournier offered me $250 per post plus impression
$250, not $200,
bonuses.
Yeah.
Back in May, I declined. If you're being paid for your political opinions, you should not be trusted. We saw the same with Sodagate. Let me go ahead and get you that link.
It just keeps happening.
And then, let's see, blah, 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 cracking under pressure. Yeah, so this is related to the Jobs Now thing.
Yeah, I included that one, actually.
You already included that one.
Yeah, so that'll be in there under that section.
Oh, so actually, I have a question for you. Did you see me posting these to the account? Because if you did, then that might be where you got some of these.
That's maybe possible. Not. I can't remember exactly where I've sourced it.
Okay. Let's see. LeBron's school has everything we're told students need. It's still failing them.
Yeah, funny that.
I wonder why.
Real funny.
And then let's see here. A college student called Cuffham the hard R after he asked. So a woman or a young woman was asked by a black streamer to call him the hard R, or say the hard R, and then she found out that he was recording her line. Now he asked her, and I didn't bother watching the video because it really doesn't matter what the connotation is. That's just kind of a shitty thing to do. Basically telling her whole life is over.
Yeah, not a good way to.
He clearly told her to call him that. Now he is saying her college and life is ruined because she said it, etc. It's like that's an asshole thing.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Let's see the regard current marriage effect. There's a group of healthcare workers who were so nice about their female patient. They have a TikTok video they did, and the quote in the front and center is, "Are patients allowed to leave you guys gifts?" This is in reference to a woman who had a pelvic exam, who also, and those are simulating events, and so it doesn't matter if you like it or don't, your body's going to react physically. And so they're making fun of the fact that this woman produced body fluids during a pelvic exam. And I'm not saying like she squirted or any of that nonsense. It's just that a female's body will lubricate itself if you're stimulating it down there. So all these healthcare workers who are basically like this is the kind of shit that makes women feel like they shouldn't go for a pelvic exam and then miss out on like cervical cancer. So this is the kind of shit that immediately needs to be punished. And so all of them have been fired, which is good.
Oh, no, so kind
not
of like
appropriate.
the abusing the elderly people kind of shit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Okay. Well, I'm glad they were fired.
That's good. We already, yeah. So they're gone. It's like 10 or 12 of them or whatever. They're gone. All right. Blah blah blah. There's the Homan thing I mentioned earlier. Okay, so it was 22,638 of the missing migrant children. 27 found deceased. 400 plus sponsors arrested. These were the people that were abusing children.
Yep.
Good. I think that we should probably hang all of them. All right. So on the notion of Venezuelan drug cartels and whether or not to treat them as terrorists, Al Qaeda was 3,000 Americans. That happens about every 2 weeks here in the USA from fentanyl.
Yeah. How many fentanyl deaths have we dealt with?
Right. So you see, in Trump's first term, when this came up, it was on the order of 75,000 people per year, and now it's like a lot more than that. And if it's 3,000 every 2 weeks, like that's not good.
Yeah, I don't really care what a narco-terrorist administration thinks about anything that we do, and
exactly. So this was from a gentleman that I do like. He generally tends to do good nuance. Kaizen Asaidu. I think that's Asaidu, but Kaizen. He's been pretty good on doing balanced takes on things.
All right. I'll include a link for that for everybody then.
And then let's see. The Department of Defense being renamed to the Department of War. That's what its original name
Restored
was. I think that's
the Department
amazing.
Of War, that is to say, but yes. And Pete Hegseth has a new title, which is much cooler than the last one.
Now, I will say this also: these departments are instated by congressional decree. These are legislated, statutory departments, and it's lipstick on a pig territory when he calls it Department of War until they approve it and specify it. Which, frankly, with the current Congress, he should be able to push through pretty quickly. But we'll see if that ever happens.
Unlike recess appointments. But that's another issue.
Yes, see, exactly. Seattle public schools, they have decided they're going to mandate alphabet education for children, and not the fun one.
Oh, lovely.
That there's no opting out of it. You are required in Seattle, in state of Washington. You are required in the state of Washington. I think they reference state of New York and California as similarly so, that you must learn about the LGBTQ plus, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That is not up to the parent anymore in those states, which is fucking retarded.
That is not a healthy way to run your society.
Exactly.
One could say it. There might be a slope related to such activities, but who can say?
Well, speaking of slopes and activities and such, and sliding off, the Home Secretary in the UK
I was
is
really hoping
Shivana
you were going to
Mahmood.
go with something Japanese on that, but go ahead.
I was slightly debating maybe a air quotes Han Chinese reference. Anyway. Shivana Mahmood is the new UK Home Secretary. She is a Muslim of Pakistani descent, who's happy to say globalize the Intifada. And if you don't know what that means, expect the bus near you to explode soon.
A bombathon enthusiast.
Exactly. She is a London Bridge aficionado.
I see. She probably is very familiar with truck driving and it's
exactly. And unfortunately, that is the I'll put a silver lining on.
Don't worry, I've got more. I've got one good one to close this out, actually. And
all right, good. So let me just toss this in.
Actually, two good ones.
This is just the. I mean, you can find some more of these off of retweets off my timeline right now. Just the downtime in Red Sea, the cable cut, is indeed real. Traffic has been largely restored
Pakistan
by
and
routing
India
around.
hard there. That's curious.
Yeah, so that was the thing specifically, was that it's impacting
and no posts from those accounts,
Southern Asia.
Particular accounts in that. Well, anyway.
So and then certain accounts have been heard in like 12 hours.
Consider.
So yeah, that's where we're gonna end that one. Is that the silver lining on the network outage is that you might get maybe fewer of those spoofed voice over IP phone calls in the next few days as they try to figure out how to repair those. We'll see how those patches go through. Those are tedious underwater missions.
That they are.
Sometimes it's cheaper to just drag a new cable. Sometimes it's cheaper to patch them in, and that takes a lot of man hours at the bottom because you got to tie the individual cables back together and you got to splice them, which requires heating up glass to melting temperature underwater. You can imagine how fun that is.
Good times. Lots
of fun. All right, so that will wrap me up for now.
All right, gotcha. Well,
one more thing.
One
more thing.
What you got?
Just advice for anybody out there, considering, I don't know if you've looked in GGP recently, but there was one person who was unfortunately transfished in the office space. But if it has an apple, it has if it has an apple, it has a banana. Remember that. That is a very simple thing to go by. If it has an apple, it has a banana.
Indeed.
Okay.
How do you trans?
The guy, he didn't know that he was talking to a trans person, that he was talking to a dude, and it hit him later, and it just like warped him. It's just like, holy shit! How did I miss this?
Yeah, probably drinking himself to sleep this very moment, poor fella. Anyway, as we like to do at the end of the show, we got some good news. So, first one, Alligator Alcatraz has been approved to continue operation.
Oh yeah, judge overruled. Fuck that bitch.
So that's going. Number 2, the Louisiana lockup was opened as of September 4th. Another detention center. So, there we go. Some good news.
Get these fuckers off our streets.
Absolutely. In some very funny news, there's a Burning Man got rained out again, and people got stuck in the mud. They made a
oh no!
Yeah, and of course there's a great big old sign that says "fuck Elon Musk," that you can go up to that, and I think the password was "fuck Elon Musk," and if you put that into your phone or whatever, you could get internet using, Starlink. But hey, whatever. I guess that's a decision that you can make. Good times. But another update on something we reported earlier. In another court, we now have a further court, in this case the 10th Circuit, that has ruled that the ban on marijuana users and gun ownership is unconstitutional-ish. That's out of Denver. Mm-hmm. And basically that they would not, long and short, that they would not pose a risk. But that's 2 courts that have had that go through already. And we got the man himself talking about scheduling it different. So as much as pot culture is dumb, it's no reason to keep people away from owning guns. Like as mentally ill as trannies are. They still have the right to own guns until they've been Baker Acted. At which point,
so that was one that's apparently being contemplated by the Trump admin, is whether or not we'll have to try and find a way to ban trannies from having guns. And I gotta say, like, the vast majority of them are just people trying to get through their damn day. The vast majority, it's the loud, retarded minority that we end up having to deal with that are fucking annoying.
The kind of people that should probably be Baker Acted.
This is true, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but just to blanket land that on the silent majority, as it were, of the tiny minority that are trans people, like that's a little unfair. It seems like
now is an absolutely troubling cross section of the trans community incredibly violent and dangerous? Yes.
Yes.
But again, this is
So-
why we had asylums. We
So
try
I
to help
have a
people like
slightly
this.
different perspective,
What you got?
and pissed off the libertarians. I understand
Take the guns
people
from the
sitting there and
trannies?
getting kind. No, I think that it's not take the guns from the trannies. I think we should take guns from mentally ill people, and I think that
Sure.
trannies are mentally ill, and so it's not a case of. And I made this point earlier, which is we keep on having the majority of 1 in 10 million events being conducted by 1 in 1,000 portion of the populace. So it's not that we should take the guns from the trannies. It should be a much more broad-based thing there, and then trannies fall under that, which is if you're mentally ill, if you are not able to cope with reality, right, then you should not have firearms.
I mean, see, I wouldn't land that on all trans people, though. That's the thing. Is like there are people that genuinely are capable of getting through their day without like having a major shit fit, even on a monthly basis.
I-
that happen to be trans, and I understand that, and that's just
I
the
have
thing.
no.
Like, I would
Look,
not land that on everyone.
there is an
Well,
individual.
here's the next step.
So I saw.
Here's-
Hold on. Let me
Okay, go ahead.
finish. Right. So I saw.
Yeah.
I saw a trans individual on one of Tim Pool's shows a while back, and he sat there and said, "Okay, so what do you think trans people are?" And the guy said, "I am a man, right? I am a man. However, I just prefer to present as a woman. I'm a more effeminate man. I prefer this thing." If that is your perspective, if that no, he prefers that it's more like a womanly man, right?
Okay.
Not necessarily a cross dresser, right? Because that's technically a different thing. But
Sure.
if you are able to hold in your mind that you are not a woman, but you just prefer to the social customs of women, I don't have a moral issue with that. But I would also argue that in the current context of the left, that is not trans. Because the current context of the left is that trans women are women, and that's where I'm sitting there and drawing the line. Like, if you do not have the ability to differentiate reality, right or wrong, you should not have firearms.
Well, I
If
think
you
that
can't-
we can go further on that one and say that if you need to be in an insane asylum, good or bad, if you have to be in one of these institutions, then
Sure.
you should not have access to firearms. I think that is the broad category that we can all agree on in that case. Which, yeah, I mean, and I know that I know that your statement there, you go a little bit further as far as like the whole trans community. But I mean, my issue with this whole idea of like mental illness being involved as the test of it, as just a simple label for it. I'll put it like that. Is that there's direct impacts. So for you, autism. For me, ADD and depression
No,
and so on.
see, I disagree. Like,
That's
I
why.
don't think
That's why I say. That's why I say.
I
Like,
don't think
what I'm saying is that there's a category of
autism.
trans people that are functional.
No. Autism and ADHD are not mental illness, right? They're mental deficiencies. A deficiency is different than an illness,
Sure.
right?
What I'm
Realistically,
saying is
when it
what
comes to
I'm getting to here is the practical outcome that comes after that.
right,
Where
no, I
it is
disagree
it
with
is
that
it
though,
is
right?
the
Like,
slippery slope argument coming at me. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it is because again, right? Like, autistic people don't have any issue in any way, shape, or form with distinguishing what is real and what is not. The issue that autistic individuals
All right.
have is social commentary and like whether or not I read a situation correctly. Individuals with ADD, they don't have an issue with objective reality. ADD individuals have literally the opposite problem. There's too much objective reality, right? But there's no issue distinguishing what's real and what's not. When you start talking about the trans community, they have a demonstrated inability to accept objective reality.
This was the nuance
And
I
if you
wanted to get to with that line of reasoning.
And that's why I would say that when we start talking about mental
classifications for it.
illness, it has to be defined. And mental illness would be defined as you are fundamentally not able to deal with reality. Right? It's not a mental insufficiency, it's not a mental deviation. Mental illness is when you
not
require
neurodivergence.
medical treatment to keep on going with your life. ADHD, the ADD, ADHD, the treatment for that is not required. You do not need ADD or ADHD treatment.
So
You
you're
need
telling me
ADD
people
or
with
ADHD
diabetes
treatment
can't own
to
guns?
excel, but you don't need it to actually function. Right? If you want to do really, really well, you can do it without getting any treatment. Right? It is not a requirement. Trans people are consistently requiring their entire ideology be embraced by everybody around them.
Yeah, that's I think the major factor here that we can land on at the end is whether or not your issue requires the whole society.
Yeah,
to
if
change.
everyone has to indulge in your mental illness, then there's definitely an issue there.
Right. And that's I think the defining line. You could turn around and say, hey, I'd do better under this circumstance or better under that circumstance. But if it fundamentally, like if everybody else has to conform to your worldview, then no, you should not have firearms.
Or you shoot up a school.
That's exactly what we're trying to prevent.
Well, if you shoot up a
those are
school,
the options for you.
then your options for owning guns shouldn't really change. It's just that when you're not alive, it doesn't really matter. Just
that's
saying.
fair. That is a very. I think that's a very libertarian position you can appreciate.
Like that's one that I know we can all agree on. Actually,
Is that yes, your rights may still exist, but you will not be alive to appreciate them.
yes,
You'll not be alive to enjoy them.
And that I think is the just reward for any school shooter. Honestly.
Yes,
I think
that it's a shame when they get caught.
Just because you have rights doesn't necessarily mean that you get to embrace them as long as they've been removed from you under an objective process, right? Like,
well, yeah,
you shouldn't have somebody just sitting there.
If you put somebody away because they're crazy, and then take away their guns, that's
red flag laws are bad because you don't have an adversarial process where you're able to defend yourself. Somebody could just make a threat and say, hey, this person said blah, 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 and then you have to go prove that that's a problem. But if you turn around and say, hey, I'm going to start with a diagnosis, and then they go through a formal process to say, hey, you have this diagnosis. This diagnosis means that you are not allowed to have access to firearms. Well, then there you go.
And it would not be the first time that there was a diagnosis of such either. That's another thing to point out. Is that is a diagnosis that involves you not being allowed to have a firearm is a thing for other things. You know, it would not be unique to being trans, to having gender gender dysphoria.
Well, and that's the thing, right? That's why it's got to be like a mental illness thing. You can't just turn around and be like, trans people can't have guns. No, you need to be like, anybody who can't distinguish objective reality can't have guns. And it has nothing to do with whether you're trans or not. Trans is just one of the categories in which you don't accept objective reality.
Right.
And this honestly ties back into something that I've advocated for quite some while, is that help the people. And if they can't be helped,
yes,
put them in a place where they can't hurt themselves or anyone else, and they will be as comfortable as possible. Because putting a bunch of desperately mentally ill people under a fucking bridge in some big city does nothing for anyone and makes everyone's life worse. And that's just the plain raw truth of it. Everyone is harmed by this. The ones doing the harming, they don't get to have any kind of semblance of a life. They've got to scrape by in some sort of animalistic life. And in their moments of clarity, just be trying to smoke themselves silly or drink themselves back out of it so that they don't have to realize how bad it is for them. Everyone loses. Every single person loses. Boy, isn't that a happy way to end the show? No, it's not. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna end on a high note, and that is a Kickstarter. I'm gonna throw a link to everybody. It's got 5 days to go as of recording, so you can get in while there's still time. Postal 2 Redux.
Oh, that sounds cool.
It's doing great. They're almost at 500,000. They got a bunch of cool features. It is not remade for all modern audiences. It is made not as a remake for modern audiences specifically.
Speaking of which, on that specifically, ties in very nicely, same way.
What you got, man?
There's a game. I even forgot the damn name of the game. It starts with an S or whatever. But there's a game that's come out. It's pissing off all the right people.
Silk Song. Yeah. Hollow Knight or whatever,
Exactly.
the newest one. And they came
It's
completely out of nowhere. They're like, oh, hey, we've been working on this for like the past few years. It'll be out at the end of the week.
Yeah,
There's something
and
like that.
it's $20, and it's going to be $20. Now, apparently, they had some review bombing from China because, however they did it, they didn't, I guess, have a good translator. So that sucks to be them. Is what it is. And but again, the $20 price tag is and the lack of lead time on the release is pissing off all the correct people.
Yeah, there's a lot of super pretentious indie devs that are big.
Fuck them. That's what I say. My favorite complaint
They deserve
to
be butthurt about it.
Favorite complaint is this $20 price tag is going to make entitled customers. It's like, motherfucker, you exist because we permit you.
Like, yeah.
Is this Silk Song?
Yes.
Isn't Silk Song in the same boat? Yeah.
That's literally what we're talking about. Yes.
Yep. I don't know, man. Like it's kind of amazing to me. So we've seen a couple different games that have done very, very well with relatively small studios. You have Helldivers. I think that had a studio size somewhere around 30. And they got millions of people playing that game. You got the same thing with Expedition 33. Expedition 33 is definitely in that same boat of millions of people playing that game.
Indeed.
And it, like, the indie studios are slaying.
Or you
They're
go
fucking
with your AA studios. Stellar Blade, huge.
Although, yeah, that was huge. That was huge, and it does actually look pretty good. I haven't played it one way or the other. I don't tend to go for Gooner games.
From what I understand, it's actually a solid game. It looks like
the play is decent.
But I may get around to it. It's like one of those Bayonetta style games. It's like that's not my core gameplay kind of deal.
Yeah.
But if I see it on sale, I'll probably check it out eventually.
Right. That's the thing for me is it's not my.
Well, it's like
it's
Bayonetta.
not my go-to.
I finally got around to playing that like a year and a half ago, and it's been out since fucking forever. It's kind of a cool game, but I'm not the audience. I'm going to play through it once. I'm not going to get the fucking S rank on every level or whatever. I just give it to me for $10. Yeah,
just going to casually go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
All right.
So, well, dang. That's.
I think we have rounded out our show. It is now 2 a.m.
Yeah, it is late as fuck. What did we do? Did we manage to hit 4? 20 minutes shy, actually. So
20 minutes shy. Okay,
everybody, thank you so much for listening in. If you made it this far, if you did, God bless. But that said, do share the show around. You find my man Craig there, CraigBob99. You can find me. I'm Evan at that fake guy Dan. You can find Steve. He's at Ratman720. Be blessed, be well, be safe in this crazy, crazy old world. And we'll talk to you again real soon.